Furthermore, the evil moon battle axe was reforged and resmelted by later great masters. As for the items stored in this storeroom, they are all the most authentic relics of the ancient Death Clan. The Death Clan has existed in the Zhantian universe for a very long time. No one can understand the Death Clan's writing, technological items, or supernatural items. However, Lord Gu Qijue should have some connection with the Death Clan. Therefore, it's possible that Lord Gu Qijue can understand the things here. Master Lin Yi, speaking to this point, continued very generously. If Lord Gu Qijue needs anything from this place, you can take it all. Because they have been uninterpretable, these things are not of much use to divine Jade City. Hearing Master Lin Yi's words, Gu Qijue wanted to say something. Even a native of the Zhantian universe like Master Lin Yi couldn't understand the Death Clan's language and writing. As an outsider, he would definitely find it even harder to comprehend. After Master Lin Yi left, Gu Qijue began to look through various items in the storeroom. Currently, there were no valuable items in this place. Valuable and usable items must have been taken away by others in advance. Gu Qijue looked around and found that the most common items here were slate books. These slate books recorded a large number of peculiar characters. These characters seemed to be the writing of the Death Clan. Gu Qijue's intuitive feeling upon seeing these characters was that they were extremely complex. Generally speaking, in the process of development, writing tends to be as simple and elegant as possible for ease of use. The characters on the slate were so complex, indicating that this was very likely a very ancient script. After a moment, Gu Qijue said to the Infinite Engine, "Parse the data here." The Infinite Engine instantly gave feedback, limited data, unable to fully parse the information here. Gu Qijue was slightly startled, not expecting to encounter such a situation. However, he wasn't too concerned. He immediately began to examine the data currently parsed by the Infinite Engine. The Infinite Engine had parsed very little at the moment, and there were many errors. After a moment, Gu Qijue was somewhat surprised, because he saw something extraordinary. He saw the concept of a powerful race creating the Zhantian clan. If the strong individual who recorded the slate books wasn't talking nonsense, then this matter would be a shocking revelation. Unfortunately, the information in this room was very limited. Although the Infinite Engine was powerful without enough data, it couldn't understand the Death Clan's writing either. Gu Qijue pondered for a moment and had an idea. He once again found Master Lin Yi. Lin Yi's status in Divine Jade City, as well as in the Underground Palace, seemed to be quite high. Gu Qijue was no longer interested in Lin Yi's identity, but he needed Lin Yi's help with something. After finding Master Lin Yi, Gu Qijue spoke directly. "Your Excellency Lin Yi, I need a shop. I want to exchange some goods with the people in the Underground Palace for any items or information related to the Death Clan." Lin Yi nodded. "No problem. I can arrange a shop for you in the Underground Palace Plaza. However, is Lord Gu Qijue truly of the Death Clan, or a descendant of the Death Clan?" Some of Gu Qijue's abilities were very similar to those of the Death Clan, but Lin Yi also felt that Gu Qijue didn't seem to be from the Death Clan. Gu Qijue's answer surprised Lin Yi, because Gu Qijue said, "I don't know, but I might have some connection with the Death Clan." This answer was perfectly fine. Everyone who had seen him fight knew that his methods were highly similar to those of the Death Clan. Lin Yi pondered for a moment, then took out a crystal ball and handed it to Gu Qijue, saying at the same time, "This crystal ball is the token to open the shop. Lord Gu Qijue can now use this shop to trade items." Gu Qijue accepted the crystal ball and then thanked him. "Thank you, Master Lin Yi." Lin Yi waved his hand. "It's no trouble at all. Lord Gu Qijue saved our lives. Whatever you need our help with, we will do our best." Gu Qijue knew that Master Lin Yi and the others genuinely wanted to repay his life-saving kindness. However, he currently had nothing that needed Master Lin Yi and the others to help him complete. Lin Yi and Sidu Jing were too weak to help him with anything. Gu Qijue, holding the crystal ball given to him by Master Lin Yi, found an empty shop on the edge of the Underground Palace Plaza. As he approached the shop with the crystal ball, the shop's magic array automatically dissipated. Gu Qijue entered the shop, began writing a signboard, and then placed various items on the shelves. These were all kinds of goods produced and manufactured by the Infinite Intelligent Manufacturing Center, and any one of them was excellent. Although Divine Jade City had its own currency, in this special era, most people preferred bartering. After all, money might be valuable one second, but completely worthless the next. For example, the currencies used by many cities and races can still be seen today, but they have no purchasing power whatsoever. If one absolutely had to trade items with currency, only the Zhantian clan's currency could be used. Because the Zhantian clan's currency was very stable, however, myriad race beings were very resistant and hostile towards it. Most myriad race beings would not carry the Zhantian clan's currency. The underground palace plaza was a place with a very large flow of people, to go from one part of the underground palace to any slightly distant place. It was very likely that one would have to pass through the underground palace plaza on the way. Therefore, the news that a shop on the edge of the underground palace plaza was acquiring any information and items related to the Death Clan quickly became known to many people. Initially, only a very small number of people went to join the fun, but upon discovering that the weapons, equipment, and other various items in Gu Qijue's shop were all top tier, more and more people were attracted. Gu Qijue's shop was simply and clearly named Death Clan Information and Item Exchange. Anyone who understood the common script of the Zhantian universe would know what it did. Many people initially wanted to take advantage of Gu Qijue here. Death Clan items were hard to come by, but information related to the Death Clan was as easy as opening one's mouth. However, after seeing the amethyst lie detector in front of the exchange, everyone gave up on that idea. Gu Qijue sat in front of his Death Clan information and item exchange, feeling a bit bored. Many people came to watch the excitement here, but no one traded information or items with him. End of this chapter, 435, a mixed-race descendant, revealing terrifying combat records. Gu Qijue didn't know how long he waited before a dirty child approached. Gu Qijue thought this child was here to beg. Unexpectedly, she spoke astonishing words. My father is from the Death Clan, and my mother has half Death Clan bloodline, so I guess I'm 3/4 Death Clan. Gu Qijue didn't expect that while he was here collecting items related to the Death Clan, the first person to trade with him was directly a Death Clan member. As a C-rank cosmic level powerhouse, Gu Qijue didn't need to use a lie-detecting crystal to know that this little one, who looked only 5 or 6 years old, wasn't lying. Gu Qijue immediately asked, "Where are your parents? What do you want to trade with me?" The little lowly shook her head. "They all died in battle." After speaking, she proudly added, "My mother killed 1 Zhantian clan member and more than 10 slave races. My father killed many Zhantian clan members, at least 20. As she spoke, she proudly placed her small hand on the lie-detecting amethyst. The lie-detecting amethyst had no reaction, indicating that she was telling the truth. Suddenly, everyone around looked at the little girl with reverence. After all, the greatest glory for myriad race beings is to be able to kill a Zhantian clan member in this lifetime. As long as one can kill a Zhantian clan member, this life would not have been lived in vain. Gu Qijue nodded slightly then, under everyone's astonished gaze, placed his hand on the lie-detecting amethyst and said, "I have killed hundreds of Zhantian clan members." He included the Ice Dragon clone's achievements, which was, of course, acceptable. The lie-detecting amethyst detects the soul. Just like a person who kills 3 Zhantian clan members with a battle saber and 2 Zhantian clan members with a battle spear, it's fine for him to say he killed 5 Zhantian clan members. Gu Qijue's casual remark, however, caused a huge stir in the surroundings. Even the dirty little girl in front of him looked at him with admiration. Of course, Gu Qijue had a purpose in doing this. His goal, of course, was to attract attention, to make more people inquire about him and thus learn about his exchange. After Gu Qijue showed off a bit, he began to ask the little lowly about her situation. "What's your name? What do you want to trade with me?" The little lowly was not afraid of Gu Qijue. She said in a clear voice, "My name is Lin Mutation. I understand some Death Clan writing, but I don't know much. I don't have a place to eat. I want to stay here and eat with you. Also, I can help you with work." Lin Mutation's confidence wavered towards the end of her sentence. She looked only 5 or 6 years old, and her actual age was at most 6 or 7. She was too young to do many things. Gu Qijue said indifferently, "You can stay here, if you are willing to cultivate. I will guide you." Lin Mutation cried with joy when she heard Gu Qijue's words. The fact that Gu Qijue could have an exchange here clearly meant he was a top-tier powerhouse. Following a top-tier powerhouse like Gu Qijue, she would no longer have to starve. Not only that, but Gu Qijue was also willing to guide her cultivation, so she could kill Zhantian clan members and avenge her parents. In the Zhantian universe, the myriad race beings are on the brink of life and death, so heroic descendants like Lin Mutation cannot be taken care of. If this were the Star Cluster Alliance, Lin Mutation could have enjoyed a privileged life based on her parents' contributions. After Lin Mutation, a very weathered, one-armed middle-aged man stepped forward and handed a stone tablet book to Gu Qijue. After handing over the stone tablet book, the middle-aged man spoke, "Your Excellency, "This is a Death Clan stone tablet book. I would like to obtain a bottle of healing potion." As he spoke, blood was still dripping from his wounds. Although he had escaped into the underground palace, he was clearly severely injured and unable to receive effective treatment. Gu Qijue casually took out a bottle of healing potion and opened the crystal cap. A mass of necromantic energy then wrapped around the healing potion, allowing the potion to cover the middle-aged man's wounds. The next moment, everyone around was shocked to see. The hideous wound on this man's neck rapidly healed, and not only that, but even his severed arm, which had been broken for an unknown period, actually regenerated at this time. This made everyone in the underground palace realize that the items in Gu Qijue's exchange were better than they had imagined. It also made everyone realize that in the coming period, anything related to the Death Clan would be extremely valuable. After the one-armed middle-aged man, a woman stepped forward and placed her hand on the lie-detecting amethyst, saying, "The Zhantian clan was created by a race related to the Death Clan." Many people had heard what this woman said, but they weren't sure if it was actual intelligence. Gu Qijue nodded slightly, took out 100 F-rank energy stones, and handed them to the woman. For intelligence, he couldn't determine its authenticity, only whether the other party was lying. So, no matter what intelligence, he only paid 100 F-rank energy stones. He was now quite wealthy. 100 F-rank energy stones were not even a grain of sand in the desert to him. Seeing this woman receive a bag of energy stones, the surrounding crowd erupted. Although information that had been stated once would be recorded on the formation light screen beside them, many people knew some of these speculative rumors, as long as one wasn't lying, and the information they provided hadn't been said by someone else before, they could receive 100 F-rank energy stones. These energy stones, for a big shot of Gu Qijue's level, would not even be bothered to pick up if they fell on the ground. But for many warriors who had not yet entered F-rank, or had just entered F-rank, this was immense wealth. For a time, people lined up, beginning to tell Gu Qijue various pieces of information related to the Death Clan. Gu Qijue primarily wanted to trade for items related to the Death Clan, but for some reason, items left behind by the Death Clan seemed to be very few. Most people either traded intelligence or presented other items, posing as Death Clan artifacts. After a while, a young girl appeared who made Gu Qijue's eyes light up. Unlike Lin Maoyan, this girl was a pure-blooded Death Clan maiden. The girl stared at Gu Qijue and Lin Maoyan for a long time, then spoke. "She has 3/4 Death Clan bloodline in her body. Your Death Clan bloodline purity is very low, barely 1%. Why are you collecting Death Clan items, inquiring about Death Clan intelligence, and adopting Death Clan descendants?" The girl's words greatly surprised the surrounding crowd. Many people thought Gu Qijue was a Death Clan big shot. Unexpectedly, his Death Clan bloodline was so thin. Gu Qijue looked at the girl in front of him twice, then said, "I need to investigate my origins and some matters related to the Death Clan." The girl frowned slightly upon hearing this. However, she still took out a stone tablet book and said, "I want to trade for a bottle of healing potion." Alas, writing up to this point, there are some thoughts I've always wanted to express. If this book hadn't been repeatedly reported for being hostile to humanity, Earth would never have been written about at just over 100,000 words. The editor told me to write it out otherwise. I'd be put in the small black room. My original setting was for the protagonist to revive with a stronger posture after death, relying on the star-absorbing main tree. Then, the ancient continent would connect with Earth. This ancient continent would be full of bizarre mutated creatures and some lingering races. The protagonist would continue to devour and evolve. The original setting was that the 3 monsters in the deep sea came from the primitive continent. The current writing is a direct change of my outline. Many wonderful plots could not be written. End of this chapter 436, The Long-Forgotten Secrets. The creation of the war god clan civilization Gu Qijue did not refuse the girl's request, taking out a crystal bottle and handing it over. The Death Clan girl took the healing potion, glanced at Gu Qijue, then at the dirty Lin Maoyan and left. Afterward, many more people traded with Gu Qijue. Most of them traded information, and it was all sorts of bizarre and imaginative scenarios. Only a very small number of people had items related to the Death Clan. According to Gu Qijue's understanding, items related to the Death Clan were not particularly rare. It was just that these things had no value before, so no one cared about them. High-end weapons like the Evil Moon battle axe were actually bought by Master Lin Yi at a street stall. Of course, when Master Lin Yi bought the Evil Moon battle axe, it was already in a damaged state. On this day, Gu Qijue harvested a large amount of information. Little Lin Maoyan also received care from a mechanical servant. The originally dirty child had been cleaned up thoroughly. Lin Maoyan did not, like children her age, prefer pretty dresses or similar attire. She was wearing a small black combat uniform. Upon seeing Gu Qijue, Lin Maoyan respectfully asked, "Sir, may I become your disciple?" In Lin Maoyan's eyes, Gu Qijue, who could kill hundreds of Zhantian clan members, was simply a godlike man. After all, the Zhantian clan was terrifying, otherwise the myriad race beings would not consider killing one Zhantian clan member in a lifetime as a supreme honor. Gu Qijue pondered for a moment and asked, "What do you want to learn from me? Also, how did your parents fight?" Lin Maoyan thought for a moment and said, "I want to learn the skill of slaying hundreds of Zhantian clan members from you, sir. When my parents fought, they usually summoned the deceased to empower themselves, and then commanded the undead to fight." After listening to her, Gu Qijue understood why Master Lin Yi had mistaken him for a Death Clan member. Gu Qijue immediately nodded, "I will guide your cultivation from now on. But I don't have a cultivation secret scroll that suits you yet." Lin Maoyan replied, "Sir, I have my own cultivation secret scroll." As the little girl spoke, necromantic energy began to swirl around her. Gu Qijue was surprised to find that Lin Maoyan hadn't even reached F rank. Yet her control over necromantic energy was actually stronger than his. Gu Qijue immediately said, "You can tell me about the necromantic secret scroll and everything else related to the Death Clan. I will trade with you using items of equal value." Lin Maoyan nodded, then took out a broken black crystal and handed it to Gu Qijue. Gu Qijue knew at a glance that this broken black crystal was a storage treasure artifact. Originally, it must have been a beautiful necklace. Later, to deceive others, the original necklace was destroyed, and even the beautiful crystal was smashed and covered with cracks. Of course, that's also why this crystal is now in Lin Maoyan's hands. With a sweep of his mental energy, Gu Qijue saw many Death Clan items and the little girl's collection within the black crystal. The little girl's collection basically consisted of some dirty old toys and some worthless but somewhat good-looking stones. Although the space inside the crystal was messy, there was one box that was relatively clean. It contained the relics of Lin Maoyan's parents. Compared to other things, Lin Maoyan cherished these equally worthless items very much. Gu Qijue confirmed his previous guess on a photograph. This crystal indeed originated from a necklace. He immediately ordered the Infinite Engine. "Scan these Death Clan items, and at the same time, repair this necklace." Gu Qijue did not intend to take Lin Maoyan's black crystal, nor did he intend to take the items inside. Lin Maoyan had provided him with so many things related to the Death Clan, so he decided to teach Lin Maoyan well. Before Gu Qijue, Lin Maoyan witnessed a very miraculous scene. Her black crystal flashed in Gu Qijue's hand and then quickly reappeared. However, what reappeared was not the broken black crystal, but the necklace her mother had once worn. The little girl, seeing the item and thinking of her loved one, couldn't help but sob uncontrollably, despite always being very strong. Gu Qijue did not stop her but instead said to her, "From today onwards you can call me teacher. I will guide you from scratch to become a powerful warrior." Although Lin Maoyan was still shedding tears, she choked out, "Teacher?" At this moment, Lin Maoyan was both happy and sad. She thought of her parents who died in battle, which made her heart ache. But thinking that she could follow Gu Qijue in cultivation, become stronger and stronger, and avenge her parents, she felt a little happier. She wanted to be like her teacher Gu Qijue and smash the brains out of those cruel Zhantian clan members. For the next period, Gu Qijue's resentment clone did not undertake any other actions. He was at the exchange every day, collecting various intelligence and retrieving all sorts of Death Clan-related items, because everything he put out for trade was exquisite and top-tier. This led to more and more myriad race beings coming from far and wide, although most of the information brought by people was not of great value, and some might even be incorrect. Even those items related to the Death Clan were not highly valuable, but as long as the quantity was sufficient, the Infinite Engine could extract valid information from it and organize it. Half a month later, the Infinite Engine finally produced a relatively complete interpretation of the Death Clan, and this result was something Gu Qijue could never have imagined. Death Clan is not the official name of this group. Their true name is Spirit Clan. The Zhantian universe was initially also the Spirit Clan universe. Unlike the Sacred Mark universe, which originally had a large number of species, the Spirit Clan universe initially only had the Spirit Clan. Today's myriad race beings, including the Zhantian clan, were all created by the Spirit Clan. For the myriad race beings and the Zhantian clan, the Spirit Clan were their gods, their creators. However, the Spirit Clan was not satisfied with their native universe. Because native universes like the Zhantian universe, Sacred Mark universe, and Crystal Clan universe were all just elementary universes. Such universes have a beginning and an end, and after a period of time, they will die. An intermediate universe, on the other hand, can initially form a cycle. As for an advanced universe, it possesses a sufficiently perfect cosmic structure and cosmic rules. On a cosmic scale, it can achieve a balance between the consumption and generation of total cosmic energy. Such a perfect universe will not fall into any form of cosmic demise and will exist eternally. The original Spirit Clan civilization and Sacred Lion civilization chose to join forces and embark on the path of seeking a perfect universe. In the Spirit Clan universe, less than 1% of the Spirit Clan remained. End of chapter 437. Leave the dungeon. Make a pact with the Minotaur Necromancer. The information compiled by the Infinite Engine could be considered a shocking revelation. It turns out that the Zhantian clan of the Zhantian universe, along with the myriad other races, were all created by the Spirit Clan. However, later, most of the Spirit Clan left their native universe. The Spirit Clan members who remained in the Spirit Clan universe did something unknown, which led to the powerful rise of the Zhantian clan. After their rise, the Zhantian clan massacred the Spirit Clan completely, even erasing the traces of the Spirit Clan's existence to the greatest extent possible. The survivors of the Spirit Clan had no choice but to modify and disguise themselves, thus becoming the Death Clan. During the Spirit Clan's rule, although the Spirit Clan was above the myriad races, all races had their own living space. After the Zhantian clan came to power, they began to purge the myriad races. The myriad races either completely submitted to the Zhantian clan, or they faced death. In the exchange market at the edge of the underground palace plaza, Gu Qijue was speechless for a long time after reading the intelligence compiled and analyzed by the Infinite Engine. The current situation of the Zhantian universe was, to a large extent, caused by the Spirit Clan themselves. If they hadn't created the Zhantian clan and other beings, this place would only have had the Spirit Clan. But now, saying all this is meaningless. The top priority is to make this information useful. The Infinite Engine compiled this information not only to restore true history, but also for its practical value. If there were no actual benefits, Gu Qijue would have suffered a huge loss during this period. The goods he traded were nothing to him, but he wasted valuable time. Fortunately, from the information about the Spirit Clan, he extracted some very useful intelligence. First, although the remaining Spirit Clan couldn't defeat the Zhantian clan, they had a way to contact the main Spirit Clan. The main Spirit Clan possessed many powerhouses, and if they knew their home base was in trouble, they would definitely send powerhouses back to resolve it. Second, the Spirit Clan in the Zhantian universe had not been completely massacred. Many Spirit Clan members were hiding in various subspaces, awaiting support from the main Spirit Clan. Third, he learned of the Zhantian clan's weakness. Although the Zhantian clan was very powerful, they couldn't naturally bear offspring and needed to use the Spirit Clan's reproduction bases. With this crucial intelligence, Gu Qijue could now do many things. After some deliberation, Gu Qijue decided to leave the underground palace and search for other Spirit Clan members who were previously the Death Clan. However, the Death Clan was merely a disguise for the Spirit Clan to mislead others, so Gu Qijue still referred to this group as the Spirit Clan. It was impossible for the myriad races to contend with the Zhantian clan with their own strength. This was because the Zhantian clan was a perfect race created by the Spirit Clan, combining most of the advantages of the myriad races. If not for this, the myriad races would not have been so easily defeated by the Zhantian clan. When leaving the exchange market, Gu Qijue left 10 mechanical lifeforms there. These mechanical lifeforms all had biological disguises, visually. They were indistinguishable from normal people. The exchange market could continue its operations, but he didn't need to waste time in this place. He could take Lin Myoyan out to do other more valuable things. Outside the underground palace, on a cliff stood two figures, one large and one small. These two, of course, were Gu Qijue and Lin Myoyan. Before departing, Gu Qijue first checked on his main body, which was currently striving to reach A rank. His main body's cultivation speed was very fast, but it would still be a long time before it advanced to a rank. Although his main body's journey of cultivation and advancement was very smooth, Gu Qijue was still deeply pained. massive amounts of cultivation resources were continuously consumed by his main body and the Shadow Bone Dragon. If not for the Infinite Empire's sufficiently deep reserves, it would be impossible to support two powerhouses advancing to A rank. This gave Gu Qijue a greater sense of urgency. Since he had the Sacred Lion Secret Scroll, he had to find a way to recover his losses in the Zhan Tian universe. Not only that, the exploration of the Sacred Mark universe also needed to be expedited. If investing in two A-rank combat powers didn't yield returns, it would be a colossal loss. If it were before, Lin Maoyan would not have dared to leave the Underground Palace. Leaving the Underground Palace meant only death for her, but now, by Gu Qijue's side, the little girl wasn't afraid at all. In fact, she was very much looking forward to the journey ahead. As Lin Maoyan and Gu Qijue stood there, she still clutched an F-rank energy stone in her palm. All of this felt like a dream to her. Energy stones that many powerhouses usually wouldn't dare to use, her teacher actually let her use freely. Not only that, in her storage treasure artifact, there was even a small mountain piled high with energy stones. Her teacher's wealth had exceeded her imagination. What Lin Maoyan didn't know was that if these energy stones were given to Gu Qijue's main body for cultivation, they wouldn't even be enough for 1 second of his main body's cultivation consumption. At this moment, Gu Qijue was, of course, not just taking Lin Maoyan there to enjoy the breeze, but was waiting for a necromancer servant to absorb necromantic energy. Previously, Gu Qijue had fused all his necromancer servants into the Asura Necromancer, giving the Asura Necromancer a massive boost. During this time, he also invested vast resources into the Asura Necromancer. This directly raised the Asura Necromancer's strength to C-rank peak. A C-rank peak Asura Necromancer could already be used as a trump card. On this outing, Gu Qijue had cultivated a new enforcer for himself. Conveniently, not far from the Underground Palace, there was a mass grave, and Gu Qijue selected a Minotaur Necromancer from it for cultivation. After a long while, Lin Maoyan said, "Teacher, the necromantic energy in that area has disappeared." Gu Qijue nodded, then looked in a certain direction. There, a Minotaur Necromancer, wielding 2 battle axes, walked steadily towards Gu Qijue and Lin Maoyan. Upon reaching Gu Qijue, the Minotaur Necromancer immediately knelt on one knee in salute. Gu Qijue glanced at it and casually remarked, "Is its aptitude that poor? It only advanced to F-rank middle stage." With the C-rank peak Asura Necromancer, Gu Qijue was not very satisfied with this Minotaur Necromancer. He immediately waved his hand, erasing the contract mark between him and the Minotaur Necromancer, and at the same time said to Lin Maoyan, "Engrave your contract mark on it, this Minotaur Necromancer is yours." Upon hearing this, Lin Maoyan's mouth dropped open, looking utterly incredulous. This was no ordinary grunt, but an F-rank cosmic-level bull warrior. Lin Maoyan had originally thought it would take her at least half a year, or even longer, to possess such a powerful necromancer. What Lin Maoyan didn't know was that in Gu Qijue's eyes, the bull warrior necromancer was indeed not a grunt, because this thing was even worse than a grunt. Gu Qijue didn't think much of this Minotaur Necromancer, but Lin Maoyan considered it a treasure. After contracting the Minotaur Necromancer, she sat on its shoulder and said, "From now on, your name is Bull Warrior." End of chapter 438. The Flame Mountain, the Eldar hidden in the warp. Gu Qijue's understanding of the Sacred Mark universe was rather limited. Although the Sacred Mark universe was only a preliminary universe, its situation was relatively special. Within the Star Cluster Alliance, there were indeed massive powers like the Amethyst Civilization and the Silver Flame Civilization. However, a common saying could perfectly summarize their situation: a phoenix whose feathers have fallen is worse than a chicken. The Amethyst Civilization and the Silver Flame Civilization, in their most glorious and prosperous periods, were clearly top dominators in the Sacred Mark universe. As for now, both civilizations had lost their former glory, and their understanding of other forces and even other regions of the Sacred Mark universe was limited. The appearance of the Phantom Eye Civilization last time caused great shock to both the Amethyst Civilization and the Silver Flame Civilization. Evidently, neither the Amethyst Civilization nor the Silver Flame Civilization knew that the Phantom Eye Civilization was actually so powerful. Although Gu Qijue's understanding of the Sacred Mark universe was limited, he unexpectedly gained a relatively comprehensive understanding of the Zhan Tian universe. In the past, the Spirit Clan was the sole dominator here in the Zhan Tian universe. Currently, in the Zhan Tian universe, the Zhan Tian clan dominates, and the myriad race beings are resisting the Zhantian clan. A very small number of spirit clan members are hidden in various subspaces, waiting for their opportunity. Gu Qijue's departure from the underground palace with Lin Maoyan this time was precisely to seek out these spirit clan members. The number of these spirit clan members is very small, but they control vast resources. Gu Qijue's main body and the Shadow Bone Dragon both advanced to a rank cosmic level, costing tens of thousands daily. On the Infinite Empire side, they were not the only two who needed to be promoted to A rank. Furthermore, Gu Qijue did not intend to stop at A rank, he also wanted to assault even higher ranks. This would require an immense amount of resources. As long as he reached an agreement with the Spirit Clan, he could obtain these resources from them. Gu Qijue's idea was absolutely correct. It might sound exaggerated, but the truth was that, at the very beginning, 80% of the Zhantian universe's resources were in the hands of the Spirit Clan. Later, the Zhantian clan betrayed the Spirit Clan, catching them off guard, and many resources could not be transferred in time. However, 40% of the resources in the Zhantian universe still remained in the hands of the Spirit Clan. The Spirit Clan members were few in number, and those who remained in the Spirit Clan universe at that time were all Spirit Clan members with mediocre talent. Even with unlimited resources, these Spirit Clan members still had growth limits. Otherwise, with the supply of massive resources, they would have long since grown to very high levels and then emerged from various subspaces. On the back of a bone dragon formed by necromantic energy sat 3 figures. This massive bone dragon, with purple-black energy swirling around its body, was conjured by Gu Qijue using necromantic energy. Behind Gu Qijue, the Minotaur warrior stood like an iron tower, holding a battle axe. Lin Maoyan, on the other hand, yawned repeatedly. Such flying seemed a bit monotonous and boring for the little girl. As the massive bone dragon continued to fly in the sky, Lin Maoyan curiously asked, "Teacher, where are we going?" Gu Qijue casually replied, "We're going to Earth Flame Mountain." Lin Maoyan didn't know what kind of place Earth Flame Mountain was, but she was curious why Gu Qijue was taking her to Earth Flame Mountain. So she continued to ask, "Teacher, what are we going to do at Earth Flame Mountain?" Gu Qijue did not hide anything and told the little girl the purpose of their trip. "According to the intelligence I received, traces of Spirit Clan activity have appeared near Earth Flame Mountain. It's very likely that Spirit Clan members exist in the subspace near Earth Flame Mountain." Gu Qijue had not yet told Lin Maoyan that the so-called Death Clan were actually the Spirit Clan. Therefore, the Spirit Clan as a group was somewhat unfamiliar to Lin Maoyan. There was still some time to get from this place to Earth Flame Mountain. Gu Qijue simply told Lin Maoyan a piece of history that had been sealed for countless years. Currently, the entire Zhantian universe is under the rule of the Zhantian clan. Almost all resource-rich areas are occupied by the Zhantian clan. Only in areas with severe resource scarcity, like the Snow Mountain territory, do the Zhantian clan rarely appear. Even so, Gu Qijue's ice dragon clone still killed hundreds of Zhantian clan members in that place. Earth Flame Mountain is a relatively resource-rich place, but there are no Zhantian clan members around Earth Flame Mountain, because the area near Earth Flame Mountain is extremely hot. This level of high temperature, of course, means nothing to the Zhantian clan. However, if there were a better environment, they would certainly be unwilling to live in such a harsh place. This made the Earth Flame Mountain region a paradise for many other groups. The Infinite Engine's analysis of Earth Flame Mountain was also correct. There was indeed a Spirit Clan subspace here, and many Spirit Clan members lived within it. However, these Spirit Clan members never ventured out. Whatever they needed to do was handled by the Death Clan. The difference between the Death Clan and the Spirit Clan is that the Death Clan's bloodline is impure, having fused with other energies. Pure-blooded Death Clan members are, in fact, the Spirit Clan. After their bloodline became mixed, there were many benefits. Even if a Death Clan member and a Spirit Clan member were placed together, no one would realize they were the same species. When the Spirit Clan's bloodline becomes turbid, very significant changes occur. It was for this reason that the Death Clan could operate right under the nose of the Zhantian clan. The Zhantian clan's targeting of the Death Clan was the same as their targeting of the myriad race beings. They did not treat them as Spirit Clan members. Otherwise, they would be like the Spirit Clan, and everything they had in the Zhantian universe would be erased. Earth Flame Mountain, Lava Caverns. This was the territory of the Death Clan, where many powerful Death Clan members, brimming with necromantic energy, resided. At this moment, everyone's expressions were somewhat grim. because although the Zhantian clan disliked Earth Flame Mountain, they did not completely ignore it. Every so often, the Zhantian clan would carry out a purge of Earth Flame Mountain. During the Zhantian clan's purges, many myriad race beings and many members of the Death Clan would die. Other myriad race beings might be doomed to die, but the Death Clan could actually survive. As long as they could enter the Spirit Clan's subspace to hide during the Zhantian clan's purge, they could survive. But all the Spirit Clan members disagreed, believing that doing so would easily expose the subspace. Since this path was unfeasible, the high-ranking members of the Death Clan naturally had to think of other solutions. Deep within the lava caverns, the three high-ranking members of the Death Clan were in discussion. These three were Gu Tiansheng, the clan chief of the Death Clan, Gu Donglai, the vice-clan chief of the Death Clan, and Grand Elder Gu Yang of the Death Clan. The clan chief and vice-clan chief of this branch of the Death Clan were both very young. They had been in power for a very short time. Not long ago, their fathers held the positions of clan chief and vice-clan chief. Gu Tiansheng sighed and said, "Grand Elder, why don't we fight to the death with those scoundrels this time? If we continue like this, it's just like slicing meat with a dull knife. Sooner or later, everyone will die." End of chapter 439. The undead race possesses extraordinary abilities. They control all the Quanrong people. When Gu Tiansheng said those words just now, he certainly hadn't lost his mind. The Zhantian clan and their subordinate slave races launch a major sweep of the Earth Flame Mountain every once in a while. At this time, Gu Tiansheng and his people only had two choices. The first was to hide in place, and the second was to temporarily evacuate. Hiding in place was entirely up to fate, and not many people could be hidden. If they were not discovered by the Zhantian clan and their subordinate slave races, those hiding in various places could survive after the sweep ended. If they were discovered, only death awaited them. Temporarily evacuating the Earth Flame Mountain was certainly not a foolproof plan. Before the Zhantian clan began their sweep, ambushes and traps would already be set up around them. Every evacuation resulted in many deaths, and they also had to face the pursuit of the Zhantian clan. If it weren't for the relatively abundant cultivation resources in this place, Gu Tiansheng would not want to stay here at all. Gu Tiansheng's suggestion was refuted by the Grand Elder. Grand Elder Gu Yang calmly said, "The disparity in strength between us and the enemy is enormous. We must endure humiliation and shoulder heavy burdens while accumulating strength. If we leave the Earth Flame Mountain, we will still face pursuit, and it will be difficult to obtain cultivation resources. It is true that many of our clansmen have died, but those who survived are rapidly growing stronger. Unless we find a better location or have other superior methods. Otherwise, when facing the sweep of the Zhantian clan, we can only confront it as we have in the past. In the current situation, sacrifice is unavoidable, no matter what circumstances we encounter. Never waver in your belief in perseverance." Elder Gu Yang's words made the brothers Gu Tiansheng and Gu Donglai become rational again. Gu Tiansheng stopped talking about fighting the Zhantian clan to the death, but instead let out a long sigh, lamenting, "I don't know how many people will die this time." Outside the Earth Flame Mountain, Gu Qijue brought Lin Maoyan to the rear of the Quanrong clan's encampment. The Quanrong clan is one of the Zhantian clan's slave races, and they gathered here, preparing to intercept the myriad race beings. The Quanrong clan is extremely savage, a tribe that eats raw flesh and drinks blood. The myriad race beings caught by them were generally not simply killed, but eaten as food by the Quanrong clan. The Quanrong clan has two forms. One is a vicious dog the size of a water buffalo, and the other is a dog-headed humanoid. Upon arriving at the rear of the Quanrong clan's camp, Lin Maoyan couldn't help but ask, "Teacher, what are we doing here?" Gu Qijue casually replied, "There is a dead spirit crystal or vein here. I plan to take this dead spirit crystal or vein away." Lin Maoyan was stunned, her large eyes showing disbelief as she said, "Is there really? Why didn't I sense it?" Gu Qijue nodded. "There truly is. You didn't sense it because your strength is too weak." Lin Maoyan trusted Gu Qijue's words completely. She glanced around and then continued to ask, "Teacher, even if this place has a dead spirit crystal or vein, we probably won't be able to obtain it, right? A lot of Quanrong clan members are stationed here, and they probably won't leave anytime soon. If we stay here for a long time, we could easily be discovered by the Quanrong clan or the Zhantian clan." Lin Maoyan is very young, but there is a reason she has been able to survive until now. She might not know other things, but she knows how to survive right under the noses of the Zhantian clan and their minions. Gu Qijue nodded. affirming Lin Maoyan's statement. But he quickly continued, "We don't need to worry about being discovered by the Quanrong clan, because I plan to kill all the Quanrong clan members here. There are at least 50,000 Quanrong clan members in this place, and large-scale slaughter will inevitably attract the Zhantian clan. However, the resentment clone, or more accurately, the spirit clan clone, possesses many divine wonders. Gu Qijue has a way to silently and subtly transform these Quanrong clan members into dead spirit warriors. Without waiting for Lin Maoyan to ask further, Gu Qijue moved, transforming into a burst of black smoke that enveloped Lin Maoyan. Subsequently, two plumes of black smoke, one large and one small, flew toward one of the Quanrong clan's camps. The Quanrong clan members here were eating, most of them in the form of vicious dogs the size of water buffalo. Only a very small number of Quanrong clan members who were cultivating maintained their dog-headed humanoid form. Wisps of black chi strangely appeared in this camp. These black chi gradually assimilated the souls of the Quanrong clan members. Moments later, all the Quanrong clan members stopped what they were doing. One by one, they devoutly knelt before Gu Qijue and Lin Maoyan. Gu Qijue glanced at the cooking utensils used by the Quanrong clan to prepare food. Feeling a wave of disgust, whether they were the human race or any other race, they were basically all on the Quanrong clan's menu. Fortunately, these Quanrong clan members had now become walking dead. Their souls had been assimilated by dead spirit energy, and they had been silently killed by Gu Qijue. After becoming dead spirits, they naturally didn't need to eat this messy food, they only needed to absorb dead spirit energy. Next, Gu Qijue left Lin Maoyan in this camp. He then followed suit, dealing with the remaining dog-headed humanoids one after another. The number of these Quanrong clan members was very large, but their strength was very weak. The vast majority of Quanrong clan members only had F-rank strength. E-rank Quanrong clan members were very rare, but it didn't matter. As long as the number was sufficient, a high-rank dead spirit could be formed through fusion. Gu Qijue originally thought there should be at least a few D-rank or even C-rank Quanrong clan members here, but after working through the camp, he realized he had overthought things. The strongest ones here were actually E-rank peak Quanrong clan members. The absence of high-rank Quanrong clan members made it extremely easy for him to control this encampment. In the Quanrong clan leader's camp, the Quanrong clan leader was also assimilated into a dead spirit by Gu Qijue. Under Gu Qijue's control, the E-rank peak Quanrong clan leader absorbed a large amount of energy stones, raising its rank from E-rank peak to D-rank cosmic level. Gu Qijue feeding it energy stones was certainly not because he had too many energy stones to use. The purpose of feeding the other party energy stones was to make it work. After the Quanrong clan leader advanced to D-rank, Gu Qijue issued an order to this burly dog-headed humanoid. "There is a dead spirit crystal or vein below. Go down and mine the dead spirit crystals." The Quanrong clan leader did not speak. After respectfully saluting, it began digging downward. As a dead spirit with D-rank strength, its efficiency was extremely high. Half a day later, it had opened up a passage specifically for mining. The dead spirit crystals that Gu Qijue had previously sensed were quickly delivered to him by the Quanrong clan leader. This was a crystal with a violet color, containing extremely pure dead spirit energy. For Gu Qijue's spirit clan clone and the dead spirit warriors under his command, these were great tonics. Unfortunately, the dead spirit crystal or vein here was only a small or vein, and not much resource could be mined from it. End of chapter 440, Emergency Alliance Meeting, a battle of two titans, at the Quanrong tribe's stronghold. Gu Qijue waited for his harvest with Lin Maoyan. His ice dragon clone hadn't required much investment, and now it was steadily delivering benefits to his main body. With the help of the Star Cluster Alliance, the Snow Mountain territory was flourishing. His Spirit Clan clone couldn't operate like the Ice Dragon clone. The Spirit Clan clone needed to find other Spirit Clans as much as possible, form alliances, and integrate resources. The recently discovered Necromancer crystal or vein was just a small bonus. It was a pity, though, that he still didn't know where the Spirit Clan subspace was and hadn't been able to make contact with other Spirit Clans. While Gu Qijue awaited his harvest, two pieces of good news and one piece of bad news arrived. The first good news was that both his main body and the Shadow Bone Dragon had broken through, now possessing the formidable combat power of the A-rank cosmic level. However, for their successful breakthrough, the Infinite Empire consumed 60% of its resources. Gu Qijue consumed 50%, while the Shadow Bone Dragon consumed 10%. This meant that, under normal circumstances, The Infinite Empire could cultivate 10 regular A-rank cosmic-level powerhouses with the full strength of the nation. Although the Infinite Empire suffered huge consumption, with the Snow Mountain Territory and various parties from the Star Cluster Alliance continuously supplying resources to the Infinite Empire, there was no need to worry. The second good news was that the Star Cluster Alliance had established contact with the outside world. The one who contacted the Star Cluster Alliance was an old acquaintance, the Phantom Eye Civilization. The bad news was that the Sacred Mark universe had entered a state of contention between two powerful entities. The two overlords of the Sacred Mark universe were the Lick Civilization, and the other was not the Phantom Eye Civilization, but the Dark Emperor Civilization. The Phantom Eye Civilization, which had previously shocked the Star Cluster Alliance, was merely a pawn of the Dark Emperor Civilization. Currently, in the outside world, the Lick Civilization and the Dark Emperor Civilization were evenly matched, each controlling nearly half of the Sacred Mark universe's territory. As conflicts escalated, the entire universe was embroiled in war. The Star Cluster Alliance's previous fight against the Klein people was just a minor skirmish, because this time, a universe-wide war had erupted in the Sacred Mark universe. The Star Cluster Alliance either had to join the Dark Emperor Civilization's side or the Lick Civilization's side. The ultimate victor of these two major factions would become the supreme overlord of the Sacred Mark universe, succeeding the Stigma Civilization. Faced with such a major event, Gu Qijue couldn't continue to keep his consciousness in the Zhantian universe. Although his covert development in the Zhantian universe was enjoyable, the unstable environment of the Sacred Mark universe prevented him from quietly accumulating wealth there indefinitely. Gu Qijue casually summoned the Asura Necromancer and commanded, "Protect my disciple." The Asura Necromancer bowed respectfully and spoke in a cold tone, "As you command." After giving instructions to the Asura Necromancer, Gu Qijue took out many cultivation resources and handed them to Lin Myoyan, saying, "You stay here and cultivate during this time, don't run around. I need to go into a period of slumber." With that, he didn't explain the reason to Lin Myoyan and directly closed his eyes. Star Cluster Alliance Holographic Conference Room. After a period of development, the Star Cluster Alliance had new members joining. In the conference room, there were nearly 40 figures at this moment. Although Gu Qijue immediately returned his consciousness from the Spirit Clan clone to his main body, he was still the last to arrive. However, no one criticized him, which could be seen from the layout of the holographic conference room. The current Star Cluster Alliance was dominated by the three giants: the Amethyst Civilization, the Silver Flame Civilization, and the Infinite Empire. As one of the three giants, Gu Qijue being a few minutes late was, of course, a minor matter. Upon his arrival, Gu Qijue nodded to the god of brightness and Southern Emperor. The Amethyst Civilization's representative this time was not the Minister of War or anyone else, but the Southern Emperor. This showed that the Amethyst Civilization was also very nervous and serious when facing a universe-wide war. After Gu Qijue arrived, the god of brightness began to relay all the information he knew to everyone. "Everyone, what I am about to say is extremely important. So important that if we make a critical mistake in our decision-making, the Star Cluster Alliance will be annihilated. Everyone already knows about the universe-wide war. What I want to say is that, under the surging tide of the universe-wide war, countless organizations like the Star Cluster Alliance have already been annihilated." The God of Brightness's words made the already tense and solemn conference hall even more so. Everyone understood that the God of Brightness's words were not alarmist, but reflected the true situation. Because of this, everyone inevitably became more nervous. The God of Brightness helped everyone adjust their mood, then continued, "Next, the most important thing for the Star Cluster Alliance is to choose a side. Our luck is very bad. Although the Star Cluster Alliance has not yet erupted into war with outsiders, we are in a war zone, not a safe rear area. We can choose to join either the Dark Emperor Civilization or the Lick Civilization. Below, I will inform you all of the information known to the Silver Flame Civilization." The God of Brightness then briefly explained the situations of the Dark Emperor Civilization and the Lick Civilization. After listening, Gu Qijue could make a simple summary. That is, the Dark Emperor Civilization was primarily human civilizations, supplemented by non-human civilizations. The Lick Civilization, on the other hand, was primarily non-human civilizations, with only a very small number of human civilizations colluding with them. In the Sacred Mark universe these years, The Lick civilization and the Dark Emperor had maintained a delicate balance in a stalemate. But the Lick civilization had no intention of continuing to maintain the balance, and after making ample preparations, directly launched a universe-wide war. Fortunately, the Dark Emperor civilization's preparations were also extremely thorough. This led to a back-and-forth, evenly matched stalemate between the Dark Emperor civilization and the Lick civilization after the war began. After the God of Brightness finished explaining the basic situation, a head of a star cluster civilization immediately asked, "Can we find a way to stay out of it?" Many people did not want to participate in such an inexplicable battle. The previous war with the Klein people was because the Klein people wanted to kill them. As for now, even if those present had a good impression of the Phantom Eye civilization, and the Dark Emperor civilization was the Phantom Eye civilization's big brother. However, many people were still unwilling to participate in this battle for universe hegemony. Such a battle was completely unnecessary for the Star Cluster Alliance. Even if they won, the Star Cluster Alliance would not become the overlord of the sacred Mark universe. Most of the heads of the Star Cluster civilizations seem to want to stay out of it. So, at this moment, many sharp gazes immediately turned to the God of Brightness. The God of Brightness's words just now clearly leaned towards the Dark Emperor Alliance. Many even suspected that the God of Brightness had been bought off by the Phantom Eye civilization, a pawn of the Dark Emperor civilization. Of course, the God of Brightness was wrongly accused this time, and he responded to the doubts of those present. "Everyone, you don't need to consider staying out of it. This is a universe-wide war, no matter where you are. You will be drawn into the conflict." End of chapter 441. A new enemy, the Loran Alliance, has invaded. Silence once again fell over the conference hall. Many of the Star Cluster civilization's leaders turned their gazes to the Southern Emperor and Gu Qijue. Among the three giants of the Star Cluster Alliance, the God of Brightness had already clearly stated his position, to support the Dark Emperor civilization and join its camp. Now everyone wanted to know the attitudes of the remaining two giants. Facing their intense gazes, the Southern Emperor casually said, "The Amethyst civilization can join either side." Even at its peak, the Amethyst civilization never had the qualifications to compete with the Dark Emperor civilization or the Lick civilization. Under the sweeping tide of the cosmic war, joining either side holds little significance. Even if the Dark Emperor civilization is the ultimate victor, our joining the Dark Emperor civilization's camp doesn't guarantee we'll have the last laugh. The same logic applies to joining the Lick civilization's camp. After the Southern Emperor spoke, everyone, including Gu Qijue, nodded in agreement. The Southern Emperor was very clear-headed and had pinpointed the crux of the problem. Joining a camp isn't important, having the last laugh is. Victor becomes king, loser becomes bandit, is a very broad statement. Against the backdrop of the cosmic war, there will be beneficiaries whether one is on the winning or losing side. Since the Southern Emperor had clarified the key issue, Gu Qijue simply continued her line of thought. So, as the Southern Emperor said, joining a particular camp isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is for the people of the Star Cluster Alliance to become one of the ultimate beneficiaries. The issue we discuss next isn't about joining a certain camp. Instead, it's about how to survive until the end. After Gu Qijue finished speaking, the leaders of the many Star Cluster civilizations in the Star Cluster Alliance began to speak up. "Agreed. I agree with Chief Gu's opinion. I agree too. Let's continue the discussion according to Chief Gu's proposal." After everyone successively expressed their stance, the God of Brightness naturally had no objections. The God of Brightness managed the Star Cluster Alliance well by relying on three strategies. First, mediating disputes. Second, patching things up. Third, heeding good advice. He was never opinionated. As long as others' plans were better than his, he would adopt them. With these three strategies, the God of Brightness was even more suitable to be the leader of the Star Cluster Alliance than Gu Qijue. The words of the Southern Emperor and Gu Qijue quickly changed the God of Brightness's thinking. He pondered for a moment, then spoke again saying, "If that's the case, then what we need to do next are two things. The first is to survive the cosmic war. The second is to use the cosmic war as an opportunity to strengthen ourselves. War is incredibly terrifying, but when it's unavoidable, war can also be an opportunity for development and growth." After the God of Brightness quickly adjusted, Gu Qijue's eyes flickered slightly. He secretly mused, "It seems I'm not the only one quietly making a fortune and growing rapidly. The others in the Star Cluster Alliance are also growing rapidly." According to his understanding of the god of brightness, in the past, when encountering such matters, the god of brightness would fall silent, weighing the pros and cons. After some time apart, the god of brightness had developed the ability to make quick decisions. The moment he realized his mistake, he would reverse his thinking and adjust his plan. The god of brightness had already outlined the general direction for the future development of the Star Cluster Alliance. With a general direction, specific action plans were, of course, needed next. With the wisdom of the Star Cluster Alliance's many high-ranking officials, solving this problem through collective effort was not difficult. After some discussion, Gu Qijue summarized. Next, the Star Cluster Alliance will enter a wartime alliance state, cooperating closely in all domains. Henceforth, the Star Cluster Alliance's military operations will be conducted as a unified entity. I propose that we first organize a trillion-strong combat force, to be commanded uniformly by the high-level officials of the Star Cluster Alliance. This trillion-strong combat force can be divided into 100 combat units. Each combat unit will consist of 10 billion warriors. These 100 combat units will be categorized into regular combat units and elite combat units. Specifically, 90 regular combat units and 10 elite combat units. Before the flames of war reach the Star Cluster Alliance, we can maintain contact with both the Lick civilization and the Dark Emperor civilization. Once the war begins, we will analyze specific problems and determine each step accordingly. After Gu Qijue spoke, the leaders of the many Star Cluster civilizations successively nodded in agreement. Wars of conquest are unjust wars. Such wars should be avoided by all means possible. Since war is inevitable, one must handle it flexibly. After all, both warring parties are fighting for greater interests. The Star Cluster Alliance, caught in the sweeping tide, could naturally make the same choice. The war arrived faster than the Star Cluster Alliance members had imagined. As the Star Cluster Alliance's meeting concluded and all parties began to prepare for war, the flames of battle spread to the vicinity of the Star Cluster Alliance. The Star Cluster Alliance, steadily developing, did not wish for war. However, there are some entities that are not adept at development, but purely skilled in killing and plundering. Such groups, once the cosmic war erupts, will naturally fully display their filth and ugliness. The group that appeared near the Star Cluster civilization was precisely such a collective. They called themselves the Luo-Lan Alliance and belonged to the Dark Emperor civilization's camp. The appearance of the Luo-Lan Alliance forced the Star Cluster Alliance to convene another meeting. In the holographic conference hall, the expressions of the various leaders became even more solemn than before. One leader wasn't even present in the holographic conference hall because their civilization was currently fighting the Luo-Lan Alliance. Once everyone had arrived, the God of Brightness spoke directly. The Luo-Lan Alliance is a member of the Dark Emperor civilization's camp. We hadn't given the Dark Emperor civilization a clear answer before, and this action by the Luo-Lan Alliance seems to be a warning to us. Chief Zhu Xiao is currently leading the Ice Spring civilization in a fierce battle against the Luo-Lan Alliance. The Luo-Lan Alliance demands that we immediately pick a side and supply them with resources. We provide logistical support to the Luo-Lan Alliance, but any spoils of war they acquire on the battlefield have nothing to do with us. With such an outflow and no inflow, even if the Star Cluster Alliance has vast resources, it will eventually run out. What do you all think about this sudden incident? Before others could speak, Gu Qijue was the first to say, "We can negotiate with the Luo-Lan Alliance. We can provide them with a certain degree of material support, but there needs to be equal and free trade between both sides. Let them fight the Lick civilization or other Dark Emperor civilizations in front of the Star Cluster Alliance. As long as we can profit from free trade, their arrival is a good thing. The Infinite Empire can provide maximum technical support in product manufacturing." Gu Qijue's strategy was feasible. Let the Luo-Lan Alliance make money in the Star Cluster Alliance and also spend money in the Star Cluster Alliance, indirectly promoting the development of the Star Cluster Alliance. End of chapter 442, Space Pirate Gang. Showcasing perfect materials, the Luo-Lan Alliance has two leaders, Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor. These are both their honorific titles and their names. At first glance, these two seem like upright individuals, but in reality they are not. Both Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor are pirate leaders, and specifically, leaders of great pirates. If the Dark Emperor civilization and the Lick civilization had not erupted into a universe-level war, Emperor Luo, Lily Bell Emperor, and their ilk would have been like rats crossing the street, hated by everyone. After the universe-level war broke out, these two great pirate leaders were instead recruited and transformed into regular army forces under the Dark Emperor civilization. The Luo Lan Alliance previously committed evil deeds everywhere. Now that they are regular army forces under the Dark Emperor civilization, their arrogance is naturally even greater. When facing forces belonging to the Lick civilization faction, they would directly plunder them without needing any reason, unless the opposing force was stronger than them. When facing neutral factions like the Star Cluster Alliance, they would rush forward immediately to extort them. Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor were on a massive starship, gazing at the distant starry sky. Both were in excellent spirits because they had learned that the Star Cluster Alliance contained 3 big fish. Based on their previous experience, they could once again make a huge profit this time. Under their attack, the Star Cluster Alliance would inevitably submit to the Dark Emperor civilization. But this submission comes at a price. They need to see the Star Cluster Alliance's sincerity. This sincerity is the first benefit the Luo Lan Alliance receives. Afterward, because the Star Cluster Alliance submits to the Dark Emperor civilization, and they facilitated this matter, they can also go to the Dark Emperor civilization to receive another benefit. Using this strategy of profiting from both sides, the Luo Lan Alliance has gained massive benefits in a very short time. It is a pity, however, that the cosmic starry sky is never short of great pirates. The method they use to get rich is easily imitated by others. After the Star Cluster Alliance, they probably won't find suitable targets to continue extorting. But it doesn't matter. They are originally great pirates within a star pirate gang, capable of using any means necessary to plunder benefits. Once they can no longer extort, they can continue with the big fish eating the small fish strategy. But something that neither Emperor Luo nor Lily Bell Emperor expected still happened. A warrior clad in silver armor suddenly came up behind the two of them and spoke respectfully. Two leaders. Deputy Alliance Head Gu Qijue of the Star Cluster Alliance requests an audience. Emperor Luo's gaze shifted slightly, and Lily Bell Emperor also wore a thoughtful expression, remaining silent. The Amethyst Civilization and the Silver Flame Civilization are both well known in the cosmic starry sky. During their most glorious and prosperous times, they were also among the behemoths of the universe. Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor, however, had no impression of the Infinite Empire. This is normal, as the Infinite Empire has only recently risen and has not yet achieved widespread fame outside of the Star Cluster Alliance. Emperor Luo pondered for a moment and said, "I want to meet this person and see what he has to say. What are your thoughts?" Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor hold equal status within the Luo Lan Alliance. Under their joint efforts, their power is unprecedentedly vast, allowing them to gain greater benefits. Otherwise, they would not have dared to start a war directly upon arriving at the Star Cluster Alliance this time. Lily Bell Emperor nodded, "I have no objection." After the two made up their minds, they received Gu Qijue in the reception hall on the starship. The Luo Lan flagship reception hall. Gu Qijue, as the guest, sat on the left. A mechanical life form followed beside him. Without this mechanical life form, he would have been attending alone. Behind Lily Bell Emperor and Emperor Luo, there were 5 people each. These 2 people plus these 10 people constitute the entire high command of the Luo Lan Alliance. Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor figured that Gu Qijue's visit was intended for bargaining. The Luo Lan Alliance is dominated by 2 star pirate groups, with over 300 star pirate groups participating, making their strength comparable to the Star Cluster Alliance. However, the Luo Lan Alliance now relies on the Dark Emperor civilization, a towering tree, so the Star Cluster Alliance is no match for them. Not only did Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor think this way, but everyone else did too. However, after Gu Qijue spoke, the expressions of Emperor Luo and the others immediately changed. Gu Qijue calmly stated, "The Luo Lan Alliance's proposal is playing with fire, but I have a better solution." The Luo Lan Alliance had previously demanded vast wealth from the Star Cluster Alliance and required the Star Cluster Alliance to join the Dark Emperor civilization. Otherwise, they threatened to treat the Star Cluster Alliance as an enemy. Emperor Luo snorted coldly and said, "Deputy Head Gu, you might not have grasped the situation yet. The Luo Lan Alliance is not here representing ourselves, but representing the Dark Emperor civilization to issue a notice to you. You are not negotiating with the Luo Lan Alliance, you are negotiating with the Dark Emperor civilization. I hope you watch your words." Otherwise, without waiting for Emperor Luo to continue, Gu Qijue opened a silver box and pushed it toward Emperor Luo. The box slid across the long negotiation table for a while before stopping in front of Emperor Luo. Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor swept it with their mental energy, and both couldn't help but feel slightly astonished. C-rank material, and the most supreme C-rank material they had ever seen in their lives. Compared to the C-rank material before them, the finest C-rank materials they previously knew were simply trash. Under the probing of their mental energy, they gained a comprehensive observation and understanding of this C-rank material. Even with Emperor Luo's critical eye, he could not find any flaws in this perfect C-rank material if he hadn't seen it with his own eyes. Emperor Luo wouldn't even dare to believe that such perfect materials existed in this world. Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor exchanged glances, both understanding that the quality of this material was sky-high, a true breakthrough, and absolutely extremely rare. Otherwise, as the great pirate leaders of a star pirate gang, they would not have never heard of such perfect materials. What Emperor Luo was seeing now was unprocessed War Heaven stone ore. His mood at this moment was the same as Gu Qijue's when he first saw the War Heaven stone ore. Therefore, Gu Qijue looked forward to Emperor Luo's expression in the next moment. He smiled and said, "This kind of material cannot be processed." Hearing this, Emperor Luo picked up a piece of War Heaven stone and laughed. "Deputy Head Gu, please don't make such jokes. How could such perfect materials be impossible to process?" As he spoke, a wisp of golden flame rose from his palm, burning fiercely. This flame was extremely hot, capable of easily melting through the armor of a star dreadnought. However, when such a flame was applied to the War Heaven stone, it surprisingly failed to cause the War Heaven stone to change in the slightest. This instantly made Emperor Luo both happy and worried. The happiness stemmed from the fact that this material was even more perfect than he had imagined. As an A-rank powerhouse, he was actually unable to melt this material. His worry was that if what Gu Qijue said turned out to be true, it would be a huge pity. End of chapter 443, Cooperation Agreement. Your sincerity has moved me. The Lily Bell Emperor also didn't want such a perfect item to be something she could only look at but not use. If that were the case, she would definitely be depressed for a long time. The Lily Bell Emperor quickly grabbed a piece of raw War Heaven stone, then condensed a wind blade to cut the War Heaven stone. The wind blade in the Lily Bell Emperor's hand was not the common frosty white, but a rare silvery white. As an A-rank cosmic level powerhouse, if this wind blade struck a planet, it could easily cut the planet in half. After trying for a moment, both Emperor Luo and the Lily Bell Emperor looked extremely astonished. The two confirmed that Gu Qijue had not been lying. This perfect material truly could not be processed. Its only use seemed to be embedding it into starship armor, specifically through multi-layer embedding. If done this way, the starship would certainly possess impressive defensive capabilities. However, using such perfect materials in this manner seemed far too wasteful. Just as Emperor Luo and the Lily Bell Emperor felt immense regret, Gu Qijue opened the second silver box and pushed it over. The materials in this silver box were C-rank Zhantian alloy. Emperor Luo and the Lily Bell Emperor swept their mental energy over the Zhantian alloy, and both were instantly invigorated. This was the upgraded version of the previous material, and it was even more perfect than that perfect material. This seemed like a contradictory statement, but this description was absolutely fitting when applied to the Zhantian alloy before them. What surprised Emperor Luo and the Lily Bell Emperor even more was that the Zhantian alloy could be processed. Although they didn't know how the Zhantian alloy should be processed, they were absolutely certain it could be, because every piece of Zhantian alloy in this box bore the Infinite Empire's logo, which was ironclad proof that Zhantian alloy could be processed. Gu Qijue wasted no time and opened the third and fourth boxes next. He then presented these two boxes separately to Emperor Luo and the Lily Bell Emperor. What Emperor Luo received was a golden A-rank super energy pistol, one of the Infinite Empire's current outstanding creations. What the Lily Bell Emperor received was a pair of white A-rank super energy gloves, also one of the Infinite Empire's current outstanding creations. These two super energy weapons were forged by combining infinite technology with a rank Zhantian alloy. The weapons used by Emperor Luo and the Lily Bell Emperor were already top-tier A-rank weapons. They engaged in highly profitable, even zero-capital businesses and controlled massive resources. With vast resources, equipping themselves with top-tier gear was naturally not an issue. However, the weapons of Emperor Luo and the Lily Bell Emperor were worlds apart from the two perfect weapons Gu Qijue had gifted them. In Emperor Luo's eyes, his previous weapon was simply trash. Perhaps even worse than trash. When he picked up the golden super energy pistol, he looked exactly like a devout follower, reverently holding the ancient scriptures of their faith. It was the first time Emperor Luo had seen technology and materials combined with such artistry. Moreover, for this type of weapon, the higher the aesthetic value, the greater the power. Emperor Luo sensed the A-rank super energy pistol with his mental energy for a long time, feeling nothing but satisfaction. On the other side, the Lily Bell Emperor was so excited she felt she might wake up laughing from a dream. This A-rank perfect weapon was truly too suitable for her. Even without actual combat, she was absolutely certain that her strength had increased by at least 10%, perhaps even 15%. While the two were incredibly excited, Gu Qijue began calmly introducing these items to them. This material is called Jantian alloy, and its source is classified. In the entire sacred Mark universe, only the Infinite Empire should possess this material. As for the technology used to manufacture these two weapons, it is infinite technology. Infinite technology is a unique technological system belonging exclusively to the Infinite Empire. It is different from all other technological systems, but just as excellent as most of them. Emperor Luo and the Lily Bell Emperor knew that Gu Qijue was being humble, because infinite technology wasn't just equally excellent to other technological systems, it surpassed them, being far superior to the vast majority of other technological systems. After a brief introduction, Gu Qijue said with a smile, "Here is a product list of Infinite Empire products, and a cooperation agreement, please take a look." Having received Gu Qijue's gifts, Emperor Luo and the Lily Bell Emperor were naturally very interested in the Infinite Empire's products now. As for the so-called cooperation agreement, neither of them took it seriously. They weren't the type to feel obligated just because they accepted gifts. Even after accepting Gu Qijue's gifts, they would proceed exactly as they intended. However, as the two began reviewing the Infinite Empire's product list, their expressions couldn't help but change repeatedly. This was a very detailed holographic product list, allowing them to see the parameters of every Infinite Empire product clearly and plainly. After viewing it for a moment, the two summarized the Infinite Empire's products. First, the high technological content. Even they, being widely experienced, had no idea how many of these items worked. Second, the materials were top tier. Almost all Infinite Empire products use Jantian alloy or other high-end materials. Third, the sense of artistry and high aesthetic value. Every Infinite Empire product was uniquely crafted, possessing a perfect level of beauty. Of course, there was another characteristic. They were extremely expensive. Infinite Empire products were priced at least 1.5 times higher than competing products, sometimes even more. But one thing was certain. In terms of cost-effectiveness, Infinite Empire products could absolutely dominate and crush the vast majority of competing products. After finishing the Infinite Empire product list, Emperor Luo and the Lily Bell Emperor began reviewing the cooperation agreement. The content of the cooperation agreement was not extensive, yet Emperor Luo and the Lily Bell Emperor couldn't help but read it over and over again. The cooperation between the Star Cluster Alliance and the Luo Lan Alliance had two core points. First, the Star Cluster Alliance would provide combat support to the Luo Lan Alliance. Second, the Luo Lan Alliance and the Star Cluster Alliance would engage in free trade, and the Luo Lan Alliance could purchase Star Cluster Alliance products at a 5% discount. Emperor Luo and the other person naturally understood that the Star Cluster Alliance was treating them as mercenaries. The Great Universe War had begun, and no one could remain uninvolved. The Star Cluster Alliance didn't want to participate in this meaningless war of conquest, so they hired their promising pirate gang as mercenaries. After pondering for a moment, Emperor Luo laughed and said, "Deputy Head Gu, you might have misunderstood. Although we represent the Dark Emperor civilization, the Luo Lan Alliance is fundamentally a pirate alliance, and it is impossible for us to risk our lives for anyone." Before Emperor Luo could finish, Gu Qijue said calmly, "A 10% discount. The Luo Lan Alliance can purchase Star Cluster Alliance products at a 10% discount." Emperor Luo continued to laugh. "Deputy Head Gu, this isn't about money. We are pirates after all." "Not," Gu Qijue interrupted Emperor Luo again and said calmly, "a 15% discount." This time, Emperor Luo's expression became serious and he spoke earnestly. "Deputy Head Gu, your sincerity has moved me. Let's discuss cooperation." 444, negotiations over, they showed no sportsmanship by raiding our base. the Star Cluster Alliance and the Luo-Lan Alliance have a foundation for cooperation. The Star Cluster Alliance is not interested in the hegemonic war between the Dark Emperor civilization and the Lick civilization. Currently, the Star Cluster Alliance is flourishing. Participating in a hegemonic war would bring more harm than good, making it a losing venture. The Luo-Lan Alliance, on the other hand, has a significant weakness. Their combat capabilities are formidable, but they have almost no logistical support. It's no exaggeration to say that the Luo-Lan Alliance itself cannot even manufacture a C-rank battleship. All their supplies and all their weapons and equipment come from a single source: plunder. Of course, there are problems with this approach, because they cannot plunder whatever they need. Most of the materials they obtain from a single raid might be completely useless. After the Luo-Lan Alliance cooperates with the Star Cluster Alliance, the situation will change. The Star Cluster Alliance can become the logistical base for the Luo-Lan Alliance, allowing the Luo-Lan Alliance to focus solely on fighting without worrying about anything else. Because there is a free trade agreement between the two parties, they can also sell any useless items they plunder to the Star Cluster Alliance. In simple terms, the Luo-Lan Alliance acts as mercenaries for the Star Cluster Alliance, while the Star Cluster Alliance becomes a black market for the Luo-Lan Alliance's stolen goods and a logistical base. Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor are both intelligent. They clearly understand what they possess and what they need. Such a mutually beneficial arrangement. Of course, they agreed to. Of course, they are not merely profit seekers. They agreed because Gu Qijue's sincerity moved them. After Gu Qijue finished discussing cooperation matters with Emperor Luo and Lily Bell Emperor, he returned to the Star Cluster Alliance for a meeting. Many high-ranking officials of the Star Cluster Alliance were also awaiting the negotiation results. Star Cluster Alliance, Holographic Conference Hall. The leaders of the Amethyst Civilization, Silver Flame Civilization, Infinite Empire, and more than 30 other member star clusters of the Star Cluster Alliance quickly came online. Once everyone was present, all eyes turned to Gu Qijue. The outcome of Gu Qijue's negotiations with the Luo-Lan Alliance was extremely important to everyone in the Star Cluster Alliance. As everyone looked on, Gu Qijue didn't keep them in suspense. He immediately got straight to the point and said, "The Luo-Lan Alliance has agreed to cooperate with us." This news excited everyone in the conference room. The Star Cluster Alliance had previously fought a difficult and protracted war with the Klein people, and everyone deeply detested war. If war could be avoided, no one would want to continue fighting. But peace is not something that can be achieved by merely wishing for it in one's heart. Peace requires using all means to contend and strive for it. In the holographic conference hall, after everyone breathed a sigh of relief, they continued to look at Gu Qijue, waiting for him to continue. Gu Qijue concisely stated, "From now on, the Luo-Lan Alliance will be responsible for the battles occurring in this region. While the Luo-Lan Alliance fights the enemy, the Star Cluster Alliance must provide a certain degree of logistical support. In addition, the Luo-Lan Alliance will purchase goods from the Star Cluster Alliance at a 15% discount. Within the Star Cluster Alliance, when it comes to commerce, there are two forces that are unavoidable. One is the Infinite Empire, and the other is the Centaur Star Cluster. The Infinite Empire's advantage lies in the sky-high quality of its goods, while its prices are very reasonable. There are no competitors for the Infinite Empire's products, because so-called competing products are simply not on the same level as the Infinite Empire's goods. The difference might be even greater than that between a pineapple phone and an Apple phone. As for the Centaur Star Cluster, it has always been the commercial center of the Star Cluster Alliance. The Centaur Star Cluster possesses almost all conditions and policies favorable for commercial activities, making everyone in the Star Cluster Alliance willing to conduct business there. Since its establishment, the Centaur Star Cluster has made commercial development its top priority. In the Centaur Star Cluster, there's a joke that the Centaur Star Cluster can exist without a leader, but not without entrepreneurs. Against such a cultural backdrop, the Centaur Star Cluster's commerce naturally thrives. At this moment, Ma Jin-Claus, the leader of the Centaur Star Cluster, smiled and said, "Small profits but quick turnover. Even with a 15% discount, we can still make a huge profit. If we engage in direct warfare, even doing nothing would impact economic development." In the holographic conference hall, everyone understood what Ma Jin-Claus meant. An F-rank cosmic warrior, even if he spent a day picking up bottles, could contribute to economic development, but if he spent a day on the front lines, He would make no contribution to economic development and would instead consume resources for nothing. Fighting the Klein people was a fight for survival. When lives are at stake, economic development naturally takes a back seat. As for the current hegemonic war, there is no need to participate. Never mind giving the Luo Lan Alliance a 15% discount, even selling goods to them at cost would be acceptable. As long as these people can resist foreign enemies on the periphery of the Star Cluster Alliance and not affect the Star Cluster Alliance's development, it's fine. Gu Qijue had solved a major problem for the Star Cluster Alliance this time, and the respect in everyone's eyes towards him undoubtedly increased. After resolving this difficult issue, the Star Cluster Alliance members began discussing the specifics. The specific situations of different Star Cluster-level forces vary, so everyone needed to return and discuss the details themselves. Gu Qijue, of course, had no patience for these trivial matters, so he directly handed them over to Han Yiming. Then he let his main body and Shadow Bone Dragon continue to cultivate to the Super S-rank cosmic level. Strength is like money, you can never have too much, only not enough. As long as it doesn't affect the operation of the Infinite Empire, Gu Qijue plans to let his main body continuously cultivate and advance, to let the Star Cluster Alliance members know what it means to strike with a single, astonishing blow after a long silence. After letting his main body continue to cultivate and advance, Gu Qijue's consciousness settled on his Spirit Clan clone. Although the Ice Dragon clone's abilities are monotonous, the Snow Mountain territory can continuously generate profits for the Infinite Empire. As long as the Snow Mountain territory doesn't suffer a devastating blow, he doesn't need to manage things there, he can be a hands-off manager. The Spirit Clan clone, however, was a bit troublesome because it couldn't replicate the successful experience of the Snow Mountain territory. There was only input here, no output. If the Spirit Clan clone had no potential, then he could just delete the account and start over, like the Golem clone. The problem is, the Spirit Clan clone has great potential and a promising future, which makes it quite vexing. Gu Qijue's consciousness settled on his Spirit Clan clone, only to discover that while he was negotiating with the Luo Lan Alliance, his home base here had been attacked. When he left, his instruction to the Spirit Clan clone was to cultivate as long as there was no danger. His Spirit Clan clone was still in a state of cultivation at this moment. The Kobold Necromancer and Aurora Necromancer, these two Haha generals, still loyally guarded him. But his Spirit Clan clone had already moved from its origin a L Chinese letter. End of chapter 445. Intelligent Necromancers. Natural selection cultivation mode. Gu Qijue's eyes suddenly opened and closed. After looking around, he reached out and pinched Lin Maoyan's little face. The little girl was dirty again. Just like before, it seemed she had been fleeing for her life these past few days. His Kobold Necromancer Legion had also become a tattered, defeated army, looking extremely disheveled. Lin Maoyan's watery big eyes opened. Seeing that it was Gu Qijue pinching her little face, the little lowly was about to cry loudly. Gu Qijue really wanted her to stop crying and talk about what happened first. However, the little lowly called out teacher and then started wailing. Gu Qijue could only reach out, pat the little lowly's head, and then asked, "What happened?" Lin Maoyan cried as she spoke. "Teacher, after you fell into a deep sleep, the Zhantian clan and the myriad races of Earthflame Mountain started fighting. The Kobold stronghold was also affected by the war, with enemies all around. I saw that teacher was still in a deep sleep, so I abandoned the stronghold and broke through." Gu Qijue nodded upon hearing this. "You did very well." He felt a bit helpless. The Zhantian clan was dishonorable, actually trying to raid his home while he was AFK. The intelligence of the Kobold Necromancer and Aurora Necromancer could only be used for combat and couldn't make decisions at other times. Fortunately, Lin Maoyan didn't panic this time and directly ordered the Kobold army to break through. Otherwise, even this small amount of assets would be gone now. This immediately made Gu Qijue decide to advance the Kobold Necromancer to C-rank perfection and then cultivate a decision-making Necromancer. Otherwise, if Lin Maoyan made a wrong decision next time, his hard-earned assets would immediately be wiped out. In addition, as long as resources were sufficient, the Sacred Lion Secret Scroll could allow his clone to revive infinitely. The Zhantian clan was unkillable, or rather, very difficult to kill. While his clone had many lives, neither was inferior to the other. Lin Maoyan and the Necromancer warriors he had incorporated were different. If they died, they would truly be gone. Thinking of this, Gu Qijue, while having all the remaining kobold necromancer fuse with the kobold leader, pondered where to find an intelligent necromancer. Necromancers are generally very stupid, possessing only combat intelligence and no other superfluous intelligence. However, there are exceptions to everything. There are some necromancers whose strength isn't great, but their IQ is very high. After pondering for a moment, Gu Qijue gave up the idea of finding such a necromancer talent. He decided to just use the Infinite Engine to customize such a necromancer for himself. Even when the Infinite Engine was in its primitive version, it had the ability to create wives for him. Now, the Infinite Engine has undergone many upgrades and iterations. As long as the corresponding materials are provided and the exact requirements are stated, there is nothing the Infinite Engine cannot do. Gu Qijue immediately said to the Infinite Engine, "Create a necromancer for me, female C-rank peak. Other abilities are optional, but she must have an off-the-charts IQ and stunning looks." After Gu Qijue stated his requirements, the Infinite Engine immediately began working. Designing beautiful and intelligent necromancer, please wait. Design complete. Please choose a design plan. Gu Qijue glanced at it and chose plan number 7, a dark elf necromancer named Vivian. C-rank necromancer Vivian is being manufactured, please wait. After all, this was a C-rank necromancer being manufactured. Besides consuming a large amount of advanced materials and energy stones, it also required some time. By the time the kobold necromancer advanced to C-rank peak, the Vivian necromancer still hadn't been manufactured. After waiting for a while longer, a blood-eyed necromancer appeared before Gu Qijue's spirit clan clone. This necromancer's eyes were ruby-colored, with a melon seed face and willow leaf eyebrows, but her hair and eyebrows were silver. Because she was a dark elf, she also had a pair of pointed ears. And because she was a beautiful and intelligent necromancer, despite her tall figure and slender waist, she had an unremarkable flat chest. After Vivian appeared, necromancer energy surged around her, and she changed into a black lace evening gown. Not only that, she also used her necromancer energy to create the illusion of a padded chest, making her unremarkable flat chest become magnificent and spectacular, comparable to Yurong's. After doing all this, Vivian bowed to Gu Qijue with extreme aloofness. "Master." Her voice was as pleasant as the clinking of ice, and her cold yet respectful demeanor greatly pleased Gu Qijue. In the creation of life, the Infinite Engine had never disappointed him. After Vivian appeared, Gu Qijue's subordinates now included Vivian, the kobold, and the aurora necromancer, 3 C-rank peak combat powers. This small team could already solo the Snow Mountain Territory dungeon. However, the Snow Mountain Territory earned a lot of money every day, but this small team was a bottomless pit, and it was unknown how many more resources would need to be invested. Gu Qijue snapped his fingers, and the kobold transformed into a giant 2-headed demonic wolf. This was an ability the kobold gained after advancing to C-rank peak. Then he took Lin Myoyan, the aurora necromancer, and Vivian, and together they climbed onto the back of the 2-headed demonic wolf. Gu Qijue had originally planned to make a big move in Earth Flame Mountain, but now that Earth Flame Mountain had been occupied by the Zhantian clan, he naturally couldn't go back. A powerful dragon does not oppress a local snake, and besides, he was not yet considered a powerful dragon when facing the Zhantian clan. The 2-headed demonic wolf did not run through the mountains, but rather traveled through the air. However, to avoid unnecessary trouble, it did not run at high altitude but rather sped along at low altitude. As the 2-headed demonic wolf ran, Vivian looked in one direction and said, "There's a battlefield in that direction." Gu Qijue was stunned for a moment, then realized and said to the 2-headed demonic wolf, "Go that way." A battlefield is not a good place for others. For the Spirit Clan, it is a treasure trove. The Spirit Clan can obtain a large number of necromancer soldiers in this place. After Gu Qijue arrived at this battlefield, he waved his sleeve, and necromancer energy enveloped the entire area. At this time, Lin Myoyan looked at Gu Qijue eagerly and said, "Teacher, can I release my bull warrior to absorb some necromancer energy?" Lin Myoyan also had her own necromancer, a minotaur warrior. Gu Qijue nodded, "You may." Lin Myoyan was overjoyed upon hearing this and immediately released her bull warrior necromancer. Under the sweep of Gu Qijue's necromancer energy, countless corpses around them rose as necromancers. Other necromancers, unable to successfully condense a physical form, could only dissipate into necromancer energy, becoming nourishment for other necromancers. Gu Qijue pondered for a moment, then looked at Vivian and asked, How should these necromancer soldiers be handled? Vivian said without hesitation. Just put them into the necromancer space. Next time we fight, just put them directly onto the battlefield. If they die in battle, they will dissipate into necromancer energy, becoming energy for other necromancers. If they can kill enemies and survive on the battlefield, they will receive a large amount of necromancer energy replenishment, continuously growing and advancing. End of chapter 446. Wanderers gather. A portal of light emerges from the ruins. Vivian's suggestion was adopted by Gu Qijue. All the necromancers on this battlefield were collected into his necromancer space. In future wars, these necromancer soldiers would be released to grow freely and wildly. After collecting all the necromancers from this battlefield, Gu Qijue had the two-headed demon wolf continue on its way. At this moment, Vivian asked curiously, "Master, where are we going next?" As expected of an intelligent necromancer, she had already realized that Gu Qijue was not aimlessly wandering, but was explicitly heading towards specific locations. Gu Qijue did not hide it and directly said, "I plan to go to a ruin left by the spirit race." Since he mentioned the spirit race ruins, Gu Qijue naturally had to explain the past and present of the spirit race to Vivian. Fortunately, there was still a long way to go from this area to the spirit race ruins they intended to visit. He could travel and talk to Vivian at the same time. Gu Qijue concisely explained the matters of the spirit race to Vivian. As he was almost done explaining this information, a large number of wanderers appeared around them. The Zhantian clan, the 10,000 races, and the Wanderers are the three major forces of the Zhantian universe. The unique environment of the Zhantian universe has led to a very large number of Wanderers in the Zhantian universe, because if one were to settle down and develop in a fixed location, they might one day face the catastrophe of the Zhantian clan's army pressing down. Against such a backdrop, becoming Wanderers and plundering everywhere made it easier to rise. Although Wanderers were jointly hostile to both the Zhantian clan and the 10,000 races, their numbers grew, and their strength became increasingly formidable. Many people died in the extremely fierce competition after becoming Wanderers. However, some who adapted to the law of the jungle seized the opportunity to rise in the brutal competition. When Gu Qijue saw a large number of Wanderers around him, the many Wanderers from all directions naturally also saw him. However, these Wanderers had no intention of provoking Gu Qijue. The kobold necromancer, in its two-headed demon wolf form, displayed its powerful C-rank cosmic-level strength without reservation. Facing such a powerful necromancer, the surrounding Wanderers naturally dared not court disaster. On the back of the two-headed demon wolf necromancer, Vivian frowned slightly and said, "This place seems to have nothing." These Wanderers must have been exploring here for some time, but judging by their disappointed expressions, they don't seem to have found anything. The only strange thing is that there's a faint, peculiar energy here. After Gu Qijue entered this area, he had been observing carefully. Therefore, he confirmed that Vivian was right. There seemed to be nothing good in this place. Indeed, many Wanderers had entered this place earlier, and these Wanderers here seemed to have truly found nothing. Some Wanderers would walk around various parts of the ruins and then leave. They all had means to investigate ruins, and under their scrutiny, this place clearly did not contain high-value items. After these Wanderers left, new Wanderers arrived. Most Wanderers had no intention of wasting time here. The Zhantian universe lacks everything except ruins, with violent individuals like the Zhantian clan. The homes of the 10,000 races in the Zhantian universe have almost all turned into ruins. However, some Wanderers were unwilling to leave easily. This ruin is very ancient, even if it has been explored countless times. If there's anything good left, it would surely be invaluable. It's just a pity that everyone had searched this place countless times but still found nothing. After Gu Qijue arrived here, he continuously saw people coming and going. Initially, this place was quite lively. Gradually, fewer and fewer people remained, and most had given up on the idea of treasure hunting here. In the end, even Gu Qijue gave up. The reason he hadn't left yet was that he was thinking about where to go next. Under the bright moonlight, Lin Mayaoyan was practicing combat techniques with her bull warrior. Although the little lowly was making rapid progress, she still couldn't defeat the bull warrior necromancer. Gu Qijue's kobold necromancer had transformed from its two-headed demon wolf form into a hound form. This fellow was a lazy dog. When Gu Qijue didn't give it commands, it would basically transform into a hound form and sleep. The Usura necromancer, on the other hand, was swinging its saber over and over again, unlike the lazy dog. The Usura necromancer was obsessed with cultivating and fighting. Vivian was by the bonfire, reading a book with great interest. As expected of an intelligent necromancer, she would read and study to expand her knowledge whenever she had time. Know yourself and your enemy, and you will never be defeated. The purpose of reading and studying is, in the end, to solve problems, just like now. If Vivian's knowledge base were sufficient, she could explain why there was a faint, elusive energy here, yet its source could not be found. Gu Qijue was also sitting cross-legged by the bonfire, choosing the next destination for their group. This ruin was extremely lively at first, but now the hustle and bustle had faded, and only their group remained. Everyone else had already left. At the same time, a large number of Zhantian clan members and their slave races, meaning the Zhantian clan slaves, were waiting outside a huge magic array. Below this huge magic array was an endless expanse of ruins. The huge magic array continuously flickered and rotated, strands of golden light falling from the array and being absorbed by the ruins below. Everyone could feel that something was being awakened. The high-ranking members of the Zhantian clan knew that what was about to be awakened was a seal spirit. The seal spirit was sealing a spirit race minor world. The spirit race were the creators of the Zhantian clan and the most terrifying opponents the Zhantian clan had ever encountered in their history. When the Zhantian clan fought the spirit race back then, even with a sudden attack, and even though they were only facing 1% of the spirit race members who remained in the spirit race universe, the Zhantian clan still lacked sufficient confidence to deal with these spirit race members, so they used seal spirits to directly seal most of the spirit race in subspace. And for those spirit race members who were fighting them, if they were willing to enter subspace, they would stop their struggle and allow them to enter subspace. Once the seal spirit was activated, unless both parties were willing to unseal it. Otherwise, it would have to be sealed for at least 100,000 years, or even longer before one party could unilaterally unseal it. The current Zhantian clan has become unprecedentedly powerful. At this time, they naturally had to deal with the many hidden dangers left from back then. Crack! At a certain moment, a crisp sound emanated. Immediately after, some kind of constraint that had existed for ages suddenly shattered. The many powerhouses of the Zhantian clan, along with their slaves, saw a huge gate of light slowly opening. A not-so-small gate of light also rose in the place where Gu Qijue was. End of chapter 447. Protecting the puppet, the elven avatar finally reaps its reward. The appearance of the light gate caught Gu Qijue completely off guard. He hadn't expected such a dramatic turn of events just as they were about to leave. He had originally planned to take the group and leave this place tomorrow to search for the spirit race elsewhere. The commotion caused by the light gate was significant, startling the kobold necromancer, the Usura necromancer, and the dark elf necromancer Vivian. The little lowly Lin Mayaoyan, along with her minotaur warrior, were also drawn to the light gate. Immediately looking towards it, Gu Qijue sensed for a moment, then told them, "Let's go, let's enter and take a look." As he spoke, the evil moon battle spear appeared in his hand and he charged in first. Vivian, the kobold necromancer, and the Usura necromancer protected Lin Mayaoyan as they entered the light gate together. After entering the light gate, the scenery before them suddenly opened up. The energy in this place was extremely abundant. Cultivating here would definitely yield twice the result with half the effort. At the same time, in another direction, the Zhantian clan and the large number of slave races under their command also entered the spirit race minor world at this time. After sensing the vast and powerful energy fluctuations within the spirit race minor world, both the Zhantian clan and their numerous slave races were extremely excited. This time, the Zhantian clan side was led by a commander of 10,000 on the expedition. As the name suggests, he commanded 10,000 Zhantian clan warriors. Initially, this commander of 10,000 was full of smiles, but a moment later, he couldn't smile anymore. It wasn't because he sensed a large number of spirit race members. In fact, he hadn't sensed the aura of any spirit race beings until this moment. What made him frown deeply was not the spirit race beings, but the guardian puppets of the spirit race minor world. These guardian puppets were all forged from alloy. They were formidable metal creations of spirit race technology. After sensing a large number of guardian puppets approaching, the Zhantian clan commander of 10,000 didn't bother being polite to their slaves. Under the confused gazes of the many Zhantian clan slave races, this Zhantian clan commander of 10,000 waved his hand, signaling everyone to charge, which was essentially saying, "Brothers, attack!" The numerous slave races of the Zhantian clan had limited sensing ability. They neither saw any enemies nor found any danger here. Although they weren't quite sure what this place was, they could tell from the incredibly abundant energy environment that this was definitely a good location. An environment so rich in energy was guaranteed to produce treasures. Therefore, after the commander of 10,000 waved his hand, most of the Zhantian clan slave races roared and started charging. Some hesitant slave races saw that everyone else had charged, and they immediately started charging too. Although they didn't know why the people around them were so excited, fly through the air or running first was always the right move. Just in case some good stuff appeared later, they would get a share. However, these Zhantian clan slave races were quickly stunned. Whether this place had treasures was hard to say, but it did have an infinite number of guardian puppets. These guardian puppets were all cast from extremely high-grade alloy, with strengths ranging from F rank to A rank. Although high-rank guardian puppets were relatively rare, but when these guardian puppets charged into the masses of the Zhantian clan slave races, they immediately activated Musu grass-cutting mode. They constantly dashed back and forth, slaying in and out repeatedly, acting as if they were entering an uninhabited land. This realm is shallow. Too shallow, these spirit race guardian puppets were completely like tigers entering a flock of sheep, maneuvering freely and slaying wherever they went. The Zhantian clan slave races usually relied on the Zhantian clan's power to bully others and act arrogantly. Under normal circumstances, they would not be used as the main force to fight strong enemies. This time, the Zhantian clan deliberately sent these lackeys to scout ahead, and they immediately suffered greatly. The Zhantian clan completely disregarded the casualties of the lackeys because the myriad races of the heavens never lacked weaklings. Once these slave races were completely wiped out, they could easily acquire new lackeys. While the numerous slave races were being swept away and crushed by the spirit race guardian puppets, the Zhantian clan commander of 10,000 and the 10 other commanders of 1,000 remained completely unconcerned. Instead, they had broad smiles on their faces. It wasn't that they enjoyed watching the slaughter, rather. They judged from these spirit race guardian puppets that this spirit race minor world was definitely extraordinary. A Zhantian clan commander of 1,000 said with a smile, "Your Excellency, commander of 10,000. Since there are so many high-rank spirit race puppets here, the materials in this place must be considerable. Should we act now, eliminate these spirit race guardian puppets, and then search for materials?" Hearing this, the commander of 10,000 shook his head. "No need. Let these slave races consume as much of the guardian puppets' power as possible. The power of the guardian puppets is limited, and it doesn't matter if all these slave races die. Once the guardian puppets' condition declines, we will charge out, destroy all the guardian puppets, and then plunder the resources of this place." After the commander of 10,000 gave his order, the surrounding commanders of 1,000 immediately fell silent and stopped talking nonsense. In another direction, Gu Qijue did not encounter the spirit race guardian puppets. Unlike the Zhantian clan, who entered through the main gate, he entered the spirit race minor world through a side entrance. This place was one of the spirit race's backup plans and also their secure passage. There were no spirit race puppets lying in ambush here, and it was easy to enter the spirit race treasury. Gu Qijue quickly led the group around him into the spirit race treasury. Vivian looked around and asked, "Are these remains all left behind by the spirit race?" Inside the spirit race treasury, there were mountains of energy stones and various treasures. However, the remains of the spirit race were left on all the treasures. Gu Qijue nodded casually and said, "Yes, these are spirit race remains." This portion of the spirit race had limited aptitude, even possessing a mountain of treasures. They couldn't continue to cultivate and grow. If Gu Qijue were trapped in a place like this, having never encountered a bottleneck across countless ages, he would have already converted all the resources here into strength and charged out. Unfortunately, most beings in this world have bottlenecks and numerous limitations. That's why these spirit race members, who possessed countless riches, died within the mountain of treasures. Gu Qijue immediately summoned his undead army and said, "Gather all the resources in this place, don't leave a single energy stone behind." Upon hearing the command, the undead army immediately began to move. The treasury of this spirit race minor world was visibly emptied by the undead army. Many energy stones and many high-rank materials entered the Infinite Engines storage warehouse, while others were sent to the Infinite Empire's storage warehouse. His Spirit Clan clone, after such a long investment, finally saw a return. After emptying the Spirit Race treasury, Gu Qijue originally planned to continue explore this Spirit Race minor world, but Vivian sent him an urgent intelligence. causing him to abandon the idea of further exploration. End of chapter 448. Undead Ravens, an empty treasure trove. While Gu Qijue directed the necromancer army to search for treasures in the spirit race treasury, Vivian did not stay behind to do the heavy lifting, but went out to observe the situation. Facts proved that intelligent necromancers were quite capable. The kobold necromancer and the Usura necromancer only knew how to work diligently. Vivian, on the other hand, would think about how to maximize the squad's gains and avoid danger. The battle between the Zhantian clan and the spirit race guardian puppets was immense. Although they were far apart, Vivian still discovered the situation after exploring the vicinity for a while. She immediately communicated with Gu Qijue. Master, when I was observing the perimeter just now, I felt extremely intense battle fluctuations. After getting closer, I found many spirit race guardian puppets and members of the Zhantian clan engaged in a fierce battle. The strength of these Zhantian clan members is very high, ranging from F rank to A rank. I didn't dare to stay for long and am already on my way back. Necromancers and the spirit race members who contracted them could transmit sound over ultra-long distances. With the urgent intelligence relayed by Vivian, Gu Qijue immediately made a decision: retreat. Although there were certainly still some resources here that they hadn't completely plundered. But according to Vivian, since there were even A-rank Zhantian clan members present, they naturally couldn't stay. The three most powerful necromancers under his command had only advanced to C rank. If they encountered an A-rank Zhantian clan member, they would be easily blown up. Either one punch for one or one punch for three. Gu Qijue led the group and waited briefly at the light gate exit until the rapidly retreating Vivian arrived. Vivian not only relayed crucial intelligence, but was also cautious enough not to attract the attention of the Zhantian clan or the spirit race guardian puppets. She returned successfully without any trouble or danger. Gu Qijue wasted no time and immediately led the necromancers away from the light gate. After leaving the light gate, necromantic energy surged from Gu Qijue's hand, transforming into crows that flew onto the surrounding treetops. The light gate that suddenly appeared recently was very likely the work of the Zhantian clan. The Zhantian clan had expended so much effort just to enter this spirit race minor world. If they eventually discovered that the treasury had been emptied, they would definitely launch an investigation. By leaving these necromancer crows here, he could monitor the movements of the Zhantian clan. After the Zhantian clan left, he could also return to the battlefield, where the Zhantian clan and the spirit race guardian puppets had fought recently to collect a batch of necromancers. The resources the Zhantian clan wanted to obtain, he had already acquired. As for the Zhantian clan members who died in the process, he was prepared to let them utilize their residual value. Ordinary necromancers were relatively weak, but Zhantian clan necromancers would definitely be stronger than typical necromancers and possess cultivation value. Gu Qijue retreated decisively. After leaving the necromancer crows, he took Lin Maoyan and the other necromancers and moved as far away from the area as possible. If they went any further, his ultra-long-distance connection with the crow necromancers would break. Inside the spirit race minor world, the Zhantian clan's battle was essentially drawing to a close. The commander of 10,000 of the Zhantian clan punched out, and a spirit race guardian puppet covered in cracks was immediately blasted high into the sky by his single punch. Following that, the Zhantian clan commander of 10,000 roared and began unleashing terrifying fist energies into the air. Boom, boom, booms, booms, boom. In the blink of an eye, the Zhantian clan commander of 10,000 struck hundreds of thousands of punches. That A-rank cosmic-level spirit race guardian puppet was directly blasted above the 9 heavens. The reason for doing this was that when a spirit race guardian puppet was destroyed, it would undergo a terrifying self-detonation. The self-detonation of an A-rank cosmic-level spirit race guardian puppet was nothing to the Zhantian clan commander of 10,000. However, the slave races of the Zhantian clan, as well as the low-rank Zhantian clan warriors, would all die here. Rumble, the next moment, a terrifying explosion indeed occurred above the 9 heavens. A massive and vast cloud ring of airwaves instantly swept across the 9 heavens cloud sea. After dealing with this A-rank guardian puppet, the commander of 10,000 breathed a sigh of relief. Next was the time to reap the fruits of victory. Under his leadership, many Zhantian clan members began to delve deeper into the spirit race minor world. They, being familiar with the route, found the spirit race's treasury. A commander of 1,000 said, "Such a massive treasury must contain an unimaginable amount of resources." Hearing this, The other commanders of 1,000 nodded repeatedly. This was certain and everyone strongly agreed. At this point, the commander of 10,000 signaled everyone to step back. He intended to use chaotic punches to blast open the outer restriction of the spirit race treasury. The many commanders of 1,000 were all experienced and retreated quickly. It wasn't their first time seeing a spirit race treasury, and they knew well the might of the spirit race's tortoise-shell defense. However, after one commander of 1,000 retreated a distance, he suddenly said, "Everyone, the south gate of the spirit race treasury is open." This news caused everyone to pause slightly, followed by great joy. Since the south gate of the spirit race treasury was open, they could just enter through the south gate. The commander of 10,000 dispersed the earth-shattering energy surrounding him. Although he could blast open the spirit race treasury's defensive barrier, it would be quite laborious. Although they didn't know why the spirit race treasury here was open, but there was no need to worry about it. As long as they could enter the treasury and seize the treasures, that was enough. However, the expression of the Zhantian clan commander of 10,000 quickly turned solemn. The faces of the other Zhantian clan members were also filled with extreme rage. Even though the Zhantian clan was not a race known for superior intellect, they made a judgment based on the various traces inside the treasury. The treasures in the spirit race treasury had been emptied, and it had happened recently. While they were fighting for their lives outside against the spirit race guardian puppets, someone had plundered their spoils of victory. "Hateful, hateful!" The Zhantian clan commander of 10,000 shouted furiously. The eyes of the other Zhantian clan members instantly widened in fury. They had sacrificed a large number of slaves and clansmen just to make it all the way to this place. Yet, what should have belonged to them had been stolen. Just then, several Zhantian clan members ran over and reported, "Your Excellency, Commander of 10,000, we discovered another light gate. Someone must have entered through that other light gate recently and taken the treasures from the treasury." Without waiting for the speaker to finish, the commander of 10,000 said, utterly enraged, "Lead the way." This matter no longer required speculation. The traces here were very obvious. Someone had entered this place recently and stolen all the treasures. Since a second light gate had appeared in this spirit race minor world, then the culprit had 100% entered here through the second light gate and taken the treasures. Led by the Zhantian clan scout, the commander of 10,000 and the rest of the Zhantian clan exited through the other light gate together. They then discovered that this area was also a ruin. The person who stole the treasures had long since fled. The commander of 10,000 reluctantly ordered, "Search, dig 3 feet deep if you have to. But find that person." End of chapter 449. Inscriptions and murals. 10,000 undead warriors. Necromancers and contractors can maintain ultra-long distance coordination. Gu Qijue was currently at the maximum distance where the connection with the necromancer crow could break at any moment, if his true body were here. Being an A-rank cosmic level expert, he could enter his 4th combat form and teach the Zhantian clan's commander of 10,000 a lesson. Since his true body was not here and couldn't come over, he could only keep a low profile. He had invested a significant amount of time, energy, and resources into his Spirit Clan clone. The Spirit Clan clone was highly potent and useful. If it were smashed to death by a brute from the Zhantian clan, his loss would be too great. At this extreme distance, the Zhantian clan members had absolutely no way to deal with him. According to the orders of the Zhantian clan's commander of 10,000, they were supposed to dig 3 feet deep to find him. For the next 1 or 2 months, these Zhantian clan members wouldn't have to do anything else but hoe the ground every day, their faces toward the yellow earth and their backs toward the sky. Although the Zhantian clan members were extremely angry, they ultimately did not do anything so outrageous, because even if they dug 3 feet deep, they might not be able to find Gu Qijue. After Gu Qijue had obtained massive benefits, he had most likely fled without looking back. The Zhantian clan searched the vicinity for a while, found neither him nor any useful clues, and then gradually left. All activities of the Zhantian clan were observed by the necromancer crow. It was, of course, a very normal thing for necromancer crows to be here. After a crow dies, as long as it absorbs enough necromantic energy, it can turn into a necromancer crow. Necromantic energy is abundant near mass graves or various battlefields. The Zhantian clan members successively passed through the Gate of Light and returned to where they came from. Although Gu Qijue saw that the Zhantian clan members had left, he was not in a hurry to appear. Several days later, a Zhantian clan centurion appeared near the light, looking extremely helpless. He had been hiding in the vicinity for days. observing the situation. But he didn't see any suspicious individuals, only two suspicious crows. Of course, these two necromancer crows obviously couldn't have stolen the treasures from the spirit race treasure vault. Moreover, these two necromancer crows behaved very normally. When a flock of crows passed by, they would blend in and return after a period of time. The Zhantian clan centurions sighed and then entered the Gate of Light. They had already given up on the idea of recovering the spirit race treasure trove. Since they didn't know who the spirit race treasure trove had fallen into the hands of, they naturally couldn't retrieve it. After all the Zhantian clan members had withdrawn, Gu Qijue proceeded according to his original plan. For safety's sake, Vivian and the other necromancers, along with Lin Maioyan, did not accompany him. He returned to the spirit race minor world alone. As he headed toward the battlefield where the Zhantian clan fought the spirit race guardian puppets, he simultaneously issued instructions to the Infinite Engine: scan the spirit race minor world and gather intelligence. The Infinite Engine received the instruction and immediately began working. Starting scan of the current space, discovered inscriptions and murals recording spirit race information. Scanning and analyzing. Scanning and analysis complete. Spirit race database update complete. Hearing this, Gu Qijue began using his mental energy to check the latest spirit race database. This time, he didn't see any shocking hidden secrets, but rather some unverified rumors. The inscriptions in this spirit race minor world recorded the claim that the main spirit race forces would no longer return to the spirit race universe. This was because the spirit race high command believed the spirit race's native universe was too crude and backward, lacking value for modification. The 1% of the spirit race members left behind in the spirit race universe were those who had been eliminated by the spirit race. The spirit race high command left these spirit race members in the spirit race universe simply to let them fend for themselves. As he continued reading, Gu Qijue discovered something amiss. That was the presence of missing content, which even the Infinite Engine could not fully restore. However, it could be vaguely inferred that this missing content likely concerned the remaining spirit race members harboring resentment toward the spirit race high command. They then tampered with the strongest weapon created by the spirit race. The Zhantian clan, who were originally destined to be eternal slaves of the spirit race, became a race inherently hostile to the spirit race. If these claims were true, then the spirit race members who stayed in the spirit race universe essentially brought about their own demise. Of course, it's also possible they didn't care about their own lives. They only hoped that the upgraded and modified Zhantian clan could destroy the spirit race headquarters. The intelligence currently held by Gu Qijue was very limited, making it impossible to determine the veracity of this information. It is also possible that these events are real, but they may not represent the views of all the remaining spirit race members. Although he was pondering these matters, Gu Qijue's actions were not slow. It wasn't long before he appeared on the battlefield where the Zhantian clan and the spirit race guardian puppets had clashed. There were large numbers of corpses belonging to the Zhantian clan and the myriad races, left uncollected. This was the norm on the battlefield. Most of the time, the fighting was done, but the burial was not. Buzz. Gu Qijue stopped on the roof of a 2-story building, his body exuding immense power and vast, boundless necromantic energy swept across the entire field. Black figures immediately rose from one corpse after another. Although Gu Qijue really wanted to perform fusion on these necromancers, he ultimately didn't, instead storing them all into the necromancer space. Inside the necromancer space, the addition of these necromancer warriors meant their number now exceeded 100,000. War is a disaster for everyone else, for the spirit race. However, war is an opportunity for development. As long as creatures die, the spirit race can harvest a large number of necromancer warriors, or directly refine them into necromantic energy to strengthen themselves. Gu Qijue lingered in the spirit race minor world for a moment, and upon sensing that the area was gradually shattering, he immediately turned into a black mist and vanished instantly. After some time, Gu Qijue rendezvoused with Vivian and the others. Gu Qijue pondered for a moment and said, "Let's find a place to tally the spoils of war first." The spirit race treasure vault contained a large number of high-grade energy stones. A significant portion of these high-grade energy stones had already been sent back to the Infinite Empire. If the Dark Emperor civilization and the Lick civilization had not erupted into a cosmic war, his A-rank cosmic-level true body could maneuver freely and pull off many tricks in the sacred Mark universe. Unfortunately, two tigers cannot share one mountain. the situation where the Dark Emperor civilization and the Lick civilization stood as twin powers was difficult to maintain long-term. Given the chaos engulfing the entire sacred Mark universe, it was better for his true body to continue advancing in the infinite empire. He would wait until he became a super A rank, that is, an S rank cosmic level powerhouse, before venturing out again. If the Zhantian universe could supply him with enough resources, he could even use the sacred Lion's secret scroll to mass-produce clones to nurture his true body. Then, one day in the future, while the Dark Emperor civilization and the Lick civilization were still locked in a fierce battle, he, at the SSR rank, would just swat these two current cosmic overlords down one by one. End of chapter 450. The Demon Antelope tribe is attacking the Five Giants Summit, after Gu Qijue brought Lin Maoyan Vivian, the Usura Necromancer, and the Kobold Necromancer to a safe area. He began taking inventory of the spoils of war. The most abundant resource in the spirit race treasury was energy stones. This kind of resource was the easiest to count. It was clear at a glance. The Infinite Empire's original resources could allow 10 F-rank cosmic warriors to advance to A-rank cosmic warrior status. The advancements of Gu Qijue's main body and the Shadow Bone Dragon consumed 6 portions of those resources. Gu Qijue consumed 5 portions, while the Shadow Bone Dragon consumed 1 portion. This time, Gu Qijue gained a huge harvest in the spirit race treasury, directly obtaining 5 portions of such resources. This only accounted for energy stones and did not include other items. As the former masters of the Zhantian universe, the spirit race was indeed unbelievably wealthy. As long as he could find 2 more spirit race minor worlds like this, the Infinite Empire's financial deficit could immediately be covered. Besides energy stones, the spirit race treasury also contained many materials. There were more low-rank and mid-rank materials, but there were also quite a few high-rank and super high-rank top-tier materials. However, what Gu Qijue was more interested in were the spirit race ancient texts in the treasury. If ordinary people took these spirit race ancient texts, they might be completely useless. Gu Qijue, however, could continuously supplement his spirit race database and completely unveil the mysteries of the spirit race. As long as he had sufficient understanding of the spirit race, he could establish contact with the spirit race members hidden everywhere. In the Zhantian universe, the gap between the myriad races and the Zhantian clan was too large. The myriad races could serve as an important force against the Zhantian clan, but they could not be the main force. The true main force capable of dealing with the Zhantian clan still had to be the spirit race. The spirit race not only possesses formidable spirit race technology, but their individual combat power is also extremely powerful. The spirit race has been recuperating and multiplying in various spirit race minor worlds for such a long time. There must be some members of the spirit race who have developed quite well over the long years. What he needs to do is employ the vertical and horizontal alliance strategy. Contact these spirit race members, and then use the spirit race as the primary force, supplemented by the myriad races, to jointly oppose the Zhantian clan. Even if they cannot completely eliminate the Zhantian clan, they must establish a situation of mutual